6:31. Oh my Lord. Brother Dunsin and Brother Oyo. A simple song. You are worthy of my praise. You are worthy of my worship. Start the morning on the wings of a song. Express your gratitude using the rhythm and the melody and the harmony of great gospel music. That's what we do. That's been our habit for the past 2 decades. On hashtag Citi CBS. Hey! Thank you for staying with us. Starting off with Business Sense, brought to you by Access Bank, more than banking. And then we jump into the newspaper review. There's a scripture that I sort of struggled with for many years. It's Luke 8:18. It says, to him who has more will be given, and to him who does not have, even the little that he has will be taken away from him. And I was like, why do you do that? What is that? I got some interesting understanding of it. So essentially, there are some things you need to get more of what you actually desire. Right? So for example, you need a certain level of wisdom. So it says in Daniel 2:21 that he gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to those who have understanding. So there are certain things you need so you can get more of what you actually require. So if you need wisdom, then you must behave wisely, because you need to behave wisely so you can attract more wisdom. And he gives knowledge to those who actually have understanding. So if you have understanding, it's a great platform to get more knowledge. If there's no understanding, there's no point in getting knowledge, because that knowledge will destroy you. So the question is, what do you have as a foundation for what you actually need? Because many things you need in life will only be given when you have something. And as we always say on this show, you start with what you've been given so you can graduate to what you've been promised. So start with what you've been given so you can graduate to what you've been promised. You don't start looking for what you don't have. Start with what you have. So to him who has, more will be given. But the question is, do you know what you have? Do you know what you have? A lot of people look beyond what they have and start looking for what they do not have. You have family, you have time, you have friends, you have a job. All those things are the prerequisites for something else you've been promised. Now, if you don't value what you have, I'm not sure you'll be given what you've been promised. So start with what you've been given so that you can attain to what you've been promised. Don't start complaining about what you don't have. Start with what you have. Oh yes. This is Business Sense, brought to you by Access Bank. And look at how beautiful they put it. It says, Fakitwa Beji Kesie. Oh, I love it. It's a nice promo. Fakitwa Beji Kesie. So you bring what you have so you can come and get more. Deposit a minimum of 250 cedis into your new or existing account. It could be current or savings. If you increase it to 500 or more, you qualify for a draw. So many things to be won. A share of over 500,000 cedis in cash. Another amazing rewards like PS5, iPhone 16, Chromebook, and much more. We have 4 monthly mini draws and 2 mega draws. Promo runs from now to September 2025. Terms and conditions apply. Call 0800 004 Access Bank, more than banking. The newspapers are drooling with lots of stories, various angles coming through. This segment is brought to us by Total Excellium, the additive enriched 3-in-1 action formula. Cleans your engine, extends its life, and lowers your fuel consumption. Reduces CO2 emissions. Choose the new formula. Choose Total. Choose quality. And if you're looking for a best of flavor in every sip, discover the refreshing taste of Piva beverages with 5 distinct flavors made for your enjoyment. Get bulk purchase 0550-032-231. Piva beverages, a taste you will love. And of course, the newspaper review is also brought to you by Fidelity Bank. Let's turn your dreams into reality. Trust in the journey and understand that with Fidelity, we are with you every step of the way. Believe with us. I could play the song all day.
That's powerful.
You are worthy of my worship.
You
are worthy of my praise.
Yes,
from my spirit to my soul, until my voice re-echoes. What a great way to start the morning. You are fully clad in a 3-piece suit, pocket square to match. Wonderful. What's the occasion today?
Good morning, Bernard.
We're just coming to work.
Today's a beautiful day.
I like it.
You start with what you have.
You can just wake up and dress nicely.
You start with what you have.
You are not doing any program anywhere.
You start with what you have. Then,
if this is what you have, then what you will get to be big.
Amen. I receive it.
My Lord. Amazing stuff. So where are we starting?
Good morning, Bernard. Let's start with a chronicle this morning. Alleged cocaine at KIA. Minority rights to diplomatic community. Samuel Jinapo is here. He's ranking member for the Foreign Affairs Committee in Parliament. Amaboa charges Lands Commission to work towards restoring its credibility. And GBC Ghana Bauxite Company targets 6 million tons of bauxite, invests $122 million in infrastructure.
The Daily Graphic: opioids abuse destroying nation's youth. Renowned psychiatrist sounds alarm. Also, TDC invites Yoko to probe procurement breaches. And then GTech is warning about the abuse of honorary degrees. And then Ghana Bauxite Company targets 6 million tons. On the back page, EU intervenes to address perennial water crisis in Tamale and Damango.
Okay. New publisher: MP keeps cocaine hardcore evidence. NACOC threatens arrest. Jinapo runs to diplomats. Okada riders below age 25 will be arrested. Government seeks new rules. And then a dubious $1 million ICT contract by TDC awarded in 2012 and not under NPP. Okay.
Daily Guide: Ghana Bauxite Company targets 6 million tons by end of year. 7 soldiers remanded over civilian deaths in Kumasi. More ECT cables and meters found in Takrady and Kumasi. Okay. Meanwhile, Command Secretary General, the Honorable Shirley Akobocho, is on the front page. She says, we will tackle trade barriers. And then some Jinapo says minority petitions, or okay, maybe it's photographed in relation to the story. Minority petitions, diplomatic call over airmed flight saga.
The Herald newspaper: IGP ECG boss first casualties of Mahama's no post-retirement contract directive. And like I said, minority runs after diplomatic intervention. Diplomatic intervention in Gran Canaria cocaine flights claim. GBC bosses tenure in limbo over missing presidential approval. And this story is growing legs and limbs. Iyoko sniffs corruption at Ridge Hospital. Czech president condemns U.S. tariffs on Ghana, others as unilateral and harmful. And this story came earlier. Ibrahim Mahama quells fugitive Nigerians' road rage, guns and power play.
The news center: no more jobs for retirees. This is very controversial. I think we should talk about this today. Mahama suspends post-retirement contracts in public service. And then 3 journalists arrested in first quarter of Mahama presidency. Suspicious flights, minority petitions, diplomatic, as we've heard. And then what would it feel like to be CEO for a day? MTN empowers young women.
That's nice.
If you give me that seat for one day,
Charlie,
you will not get it. So it's a backlit story.
Interesting one
there.
there.
Photo of the CEO Blewett.
Oh, it's a beautiful one.
Yes.
The Inquisitor: wanton sale of TDC lands under NPP allocatees traced to cemetery. And GBC committed to environmental protection, mining. Ioko chases corrupt elements at Ridge Hospital. That story is here as well. Zoom Lion does not engage land guards. Stories on the Inquisitor this morning.
The Informer, National Cathedral brouhaha, Senpoa, Fire Minister. GTech warns against misuse of honorary titles.
Yes, please.
And then airport drugs cash our concern, not Adjoa Safo. This is MPP.
Okay.
And then OSP collaborates with NCCE to fight corruption.
Right. Daily Post this morning. President Mahama calls on Czech private sector to explore cooperation with Ghana's economy. No contract approvals without commencement authorization. This is Finance Minister. And suspicious flights in Tim Fojo's interrogation will be made public. Kwachio Fosu says, and BOG disowns criminal use of currency boxes, calls for prosecution.
The Daily Gist of Fortuna Limi says, who replaces Chief Justice? Lobbying begins. Stories on page 3. Also, Vice President will operate from the Osu Castle, and Spy Chief Kwabena Edubuahin finally secures bail, according to the paper. Let me take you online for a few quick headlines. If I take you to citinewsroom.com this morning, Felix Kwachofosu is leading. NIB awaits Bagmin's approval to interrogate in Team Fojo. Also, Auditor General embarks on nationwide payroll audit. Meanwhile, organized labor is warning government to tread cautiously on post-retirement contracts ban. This matter is going to get bigger. Meanwhile, we're told the Vice President is resting in the UK. She's doing well.
Okay.
In other headlines, the Ghana Airport Company has also waded into the flight saga.
That's right.
They're saying no illegal substances were on board suspicious flight, quote unquote. NACOC is also quoted here. If you go to the Channel 1 News website this morning, they also lead with CJ removal petition kept confidential. Kwachi assures. Meanwhile, he says you can't set deadlines in Galamsey fights. It's a lifelong battle. And other stories: 7 soldiers arrested or remanded over alleged fatal assault on civilians. And then former EPA boss says focus on economic empowerment, not punishment. This is John Krugu. He was on CNN yesterday with some interesting thoughts on Galamsey and the Boko crisis. Let me take you to my Joe Online. They have a couple of quick headlines for our perusal this morning. And they're leading with letting those who pose existential threats walk free is an invitation to criminal networks. This is in relation to the Galamsey and deport foreigners matter. Mr. President, let this be your legacy term. Professor Inning urges bold action on Galamsey. He said this yesterday. He said it 2 days ago as well. In other headlines, I expect the Lands Commission to embrace the government's resetting vision. This is the Lands Minister. Moving on to the Ghana News Agency, Mahama Lord Waki's contribution towards food security in West Africa. And then we're also told digital payment adoption remains low among Ghanaian enterprises. And those are some of the stories. And then don't award government contracts without financial or finance ministry's approval. This is Atu Forcing. So let me come to you. Where are you starting from this morning?
So there are lots of stories this morning.
That thing has confused you.
Yeah, so let me start from this one. In Tim Fojo's interrogation will be made public. Kwacho Fosu says on the suspicious flight. Felix Kwacho Fosu, Minister of State in charge of government communications, has called for the interrogation of Reverend John Tim Fojo, ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee and member of Parliament for Asin South, to be made public. This request follows allegations by Tim Fojo that 2 aircrafts which landed at Kotoka International Airport were involved in drug trafficking and money laundering. Now, speaking on Channel 1 TV's Face to Face on Tuesday, April 8, Kwacho Fosu stressed the need for transparency and public accountability in addressing the claims. Quote, I have requested that his interrogation or the questions that will be posed to him should be recorded and released to the public for purposes of public interest and transparency. They can show it, he said. Now, we are told that on the Air saga, the Ghana Airport Company Limited is refuting allegations of drug trafficking at KIA. The management has strongly refuted recent media claims that its officials were involved in passing false information to ranking member of Parliament's Defense and Interior Committee and member of Parliament for Asin South, Reverend John Tim Fojo, who made allegations of drug trafficking concerning 2 aircrafts that landed at Kotoka International Airport several weeks ago. Now, in a statement issued by the company on April 8, 2025, cited by the paper, all aircrafts entering the country are issued by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority in collaboration with the National Security and not the GACL, as purported. Now, the statement further emphasized that all necessary security checks were carried out by the Aviation Security and National Security, while ground handling services for the arriving aircraft were made by Swissport.
All right.
So GACL is categorically denying any evidence of illegal substance being found on board the two aircraft.
Let me just give you a follow-up. Minority petitions diplomatic corps over Emmet saga. You heard this in the news. Just to give you some highlights of it. The ranking member of Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee and former Minister Samuel Abu-Jinapo disclosed in a statement that he had written to the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps and Lebanese Ambassador to Ghana, Maher Kier, requesting diplomatic engagement on the matter. They have invited the diplomatic community to intervene in what they describe as a troubling and unresolved scandal involving two aircraft suspected of transporting illicit goods into the country.
Right.
So the request then gives the background of the matter and is asking them to invite an independent probe into the issue. Now, the other big story this morning, in my view, is the government decision not to continue employing retirees.
That's right.
Or to give them contract extensions. It's generated a bit of interest.
Correct.
So the original story was from Callistus Mahama's statement that was signed. The government will forthwith no longer give contract extensions to people who are above 60. Now, let me give you two angles.
Sure.
The first angle is the TUC's warning to the government to tread cautiously.
Okay.
And then the other one is Herald's extrapolation.
Yes, that the IGP and ECG boss will be the first casualties.
Sure there are many people who will be found there.
A whole lot more.
Let me just give you that one. Organized Labour has urged the president to exercise caution in implementing his directive to suspend post-retirement contract extensions for public sector workers. Now, the appeal follows the government's recent announcement halting the granting of such contract extensions across the public service. Now, Organized Labour in reaction say they are concerned that the move could lead to a loss of valuable experience within the public sector workforce. Joshua Ansa, Secretary of TUC, in an interview with Citi News, says, I always say that the development of this country is the hallmark of every Ghanaian. So whatever policy, blah, 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 so government should be careful. Now, second reaction, Dr. Bafo Ajimandria, who was speaking on Eyewitness News, is actually commending President Mahama for the decision.
Okay.
So you can call him a governance expert. He's earned that title. And he thinks a good decision which will allow more fresh minds to be given jobs, essentially.
In the meantime, the managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, Julius Kwekpena, and the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohunu, are among the high-profile public officials impacted by President John Mahama's suspension of post-retirement contract appointments. Mr. Kwekpena, who turns 60 in February 2025, has reached the compulsory retirement age and would typically have been expected to leave office. Now, the IGP, Mr. Yohunu, is officially 59 but would no longer benefit from the post-retirement contract extensions that became commonplace under former President Nana Akufo-Addo, arrangements that often denied other capable officials the opportunity for career progression. However, Mr. Yohunu, whose date of birth is December 27, 1965, will have to leave office by November of this year due to Mahama's suspension of post-retirement contract appointment. Interestingly, the Ghana Immigration Service GIS, Kwame Asuatechi, was kept in office as the Comptroller General with several post-retirement contracts, while many junior officers were compelled to exit upon reaching their retirement milestone, raising concerns over politicization, favoritism, and political bias within the system.
It's going to be an interesting
domino effect
thing
of that. Yes.
I mean, for example, the ECG guy, if what the Herald is saying is true, I think he was even appointed after February. So are you saying that now that he's been appointed already at 60? I think the government needs to clarify how they will use this thing. Now, I'm going to give you two stories. Opioids abuse destroying nations' youth. And I think this is something the media has been highlighting, but I don't think we've gotten the right traction from government. A former chief psychiatrist, Professor J.B. Asare, has raised concern, this is graphics front page by the way, about the alarming abuse of opioids among the youth, saying the failure to crack down on the influx of the substance can lead to many wasted lives in some years to come. He therefore stressed the need to step up surveillance at the country's borders in order to prevent the smuggling of the drug into the country. Speaking to the Daily Graphic, Dr. Asari urged the entire society, comprising religious bodies, politicians, educational institutions, civil society organizations, among others, to wage a relentless war against the abuse of opioids by the youth.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Now, Iyoko is doing two things.
Yes.
On page 13 of the graphic,
Yep.
they have been invited by the TDC to probe procurement breaches. That's on page 13.
Yeah.
And then Iyoko is also telling us that they have renewed interest
In the
Rich
Rich
Hospitals matter, because
right.
that story came up a couple of days ago about some financial malfeasance which was happening, and the Iyoko sort of had gone to sleep. They said they are waking up.
Precisely.
Now, management of TDC Ghana has written to Iyoko, which is the Economic Organized Crime Office,
Yeah.
to investigate a number of alleged procurement breaches and financial malfeasance by the previous management. This includes a $1 million IT solution the company is said to have paid for, but was never delivered. The managing director of TDC Limited, Courage Nunekweku, disclosed this at his maiden engagement with the staff on Friday.
Okay.
And then he also gave some other details.
Now, if you come to Herald page 2, Iyoko sniffs corruption at Ridge Hospital. The Economic and Organized Crime Office, Iyoko, has expressed a renewed interest in the affairs of the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, formerly known as Ridge Hospital. This development follows recent media exposés involving the prominent government health facility. Sources within Iyoko have disclosed that the investigative body is preparing to revive a previously shelved case concerning a senior official in the hospital's surgical department. Iyoko had earlier commenced investigations into suspected cases of theft and or extortion of patients at the facility between January and December 2023. The probe implicated certain members of staff and a private company, Star Aid Care Limited. However, the case was abruptly suspended without any clear explanation. Now, according to sources, the current leadership at Iyoko is determined to get to the bottom of the matter, which was originally initiated on 24th July 2024. So
now, the Ghana Bauxite Company has been in the news this morning. A number of papers are reporting. I'm using the Daily Guide version. It says Ghana Bauxite Company has set an ambitious target of producing 6 million tons of bauxite by end of this year. To achieve this goal, the company has invested a substantial amount of $122.97 million in upgrading its infrastructure and operational efficiency. This significant investment has enabled the company to acquire a robust fleet of equipment, including surface miners, haulage trucks, dump trucks, excavators, and retooling of existing plant and machinery. Now, this was at a press briefing at Awaso in the Western North. General Manager of the company, Alexander Jedu, said the company's production volumes have already seen a significant boost. The use of both surface mining and drills and blast methods have increased production from 1.3 million tons per annum to 1.8.
Still on mining, and this time illegal mining. Herald's editorial: deportation of foreigners involved in Galamsey. That curious proposal by Muntaka. Part of it says the fight against Galamsey is not only a fight to save our forests and restore our water bodies, but rather a fight against environmental genocide and for the future of unborn generations. As a newspaper, we consider this proposal outrageous and unacceptable, as we are witnessing the wanton and reckless destruction of our forests and pollution of water bodies. Now, eco-conscious citizens is saying to government, prosecute foreigners before you deport them. This is the Inquisitor, page number 2. The eco-conscious citizens, a leading environmental advocacy group, has called on the Interior Minister Mohammed Muntaka Mubarak to reconsider the decision to deport foreigners involved in illegal mining Galamsey without trial. Now, during an engagement with the Ashanti Regional Police Command, the minister announced blah blah blah. We know the background already, but the eco-conscious citizens are charging the government to prosecute the foreigners.
Speaking of foreigners,
we deport them.
The Herald has a very interesting story about a Nigerian who blocked entrance to a facility and the intervention of national security to allow the other users of the facility to enter, and then the role of Ibrahim Mahama, who apparently had workers living in that estate who couldn't come to work, and Ibrahim Mahama had to go and bring Mr. Peters down before he was sent to the police station to make a statement. And you should read the story. It's basically Ibrahim Mahama quells fugitive Nigerians, road rage, guns, and power play.
Yeah, man.
It's very, very interesting story to read.
My
now,
goodness, page number 3 of
Daily Graphic back page. EU intervenes to address perennial water crisis in Tamale and Damango. This is a good story. The European Union has stepped up efforts. This story is by Mohamed Fuku, by the way, to resolve the perennial water crisis facing residents of Tamale and surrounding communities as well as Damango. This comes as a relief to thousands of households that have endured irregular water supply for years due to aging infrastructure and malfunctioning equipment. Now, the EU Ambassador Ichak Razali announced this when he visited the Dalun treatment plant to assess its current condition. And as part of the visit, he interacted with the Minister Adolf Ali John and then Na Mohammed Mustafa and others.
Right.
And basically, the EU provides some resources to help revamp the water sector there.
Fantastic. Yesterday we had a NADMO Director General in the studio. He's captured here. A report from that interview is captured on page 6 of the Inquisitor. Unauthorized structures on waterways to be demolished. NADMO warns. Director General of the National Disaster Management Organization, Dr. Joseph B. Kanye Kuyon, has announced that unauthorized structures will be demolished as part of intensified efforts to combat flooding across Ghana, particularly in Accra. Speaking on the Citi Breakfast Show on Tuesday, April. Is it Wednesday?
It was Tuesday. Yes, today is Wednesday. It was Tuesday.
Today is Wednesday.
You are confused. It was Wednesday.
I
It was
thought today would be Thursday.
Look at you. It
Oh,
was
Lord.
Tuesday.
Oh, Lord.
So you are right.
So to solve a problem, there must be some discomfort. So people will have to incur some displeasures based on the actions that will be taken to ensure that the rest of us are safe. At this point, you said, some structures will have to be pulled down, he said. So Bernard, we are expecting some demolition.
Now, two
and
quick
all of
stories.
that to
Supreme
happen.
Court hears its first case on CJ removal process today. William now reporting on Channel 1 News that Supreme Court is set to hear the case that is challenging the procedure being used to potentially remove CJ from office. The case was filed by Echo Vincent Esifua, MP for Old Tafos, questioning the constitutional steps taken by President Mahama after receiving 3 separate petitions seeking the CJ's removal. Now, I want to give a warning.
Yes.
On page 20 of the graphic.
Yes.
Stop using honorary degrees in your honorifics.
Yum.
The Ghana Tertiary Education Commission has deplored the abuse of honorary doctorate degrees and professorship titles conferred upon individuals by various institutions both within and without the country. It said the appropriation of these honorary titles as part of the name of any recipient is deemed unethical and contravenes several provisions of the Education Regulatory Bodies Act.
Thank you.
And this was by Professor Ahmed Jinapo.
Yes.
Jinapos are everywhere.
Yes.
One is writing to EU.
One is
writing to Dean.
One is writing to ECG.
One is doing another one is
One is the chief somewhere.
No. I need to interview them. This is Professor Ahmed Jinapo.
Yeah, ma.
Director General of GTech.
But another Jinapo is saying he doesn't know where the Galamsey drones are. We should ask Professor Boati.
A son, name him Jinapo.
Thank you.
He will become a big man in the future. Charlie, too good.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
City Business News with Echo Bank. Your money emergency number is *770#. It gives you instant access to loans, to fund transfers, utility payments, airtime, data purchases, and so much more. Dial *770# now for solutions to your money emergencies. Echo Bank, the Pan-African Bank, proud to be associated with Citi Business News. Now, Shika Caesar is here with the bulletin. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard. Hello and welcome to the breakfast edition of the Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, GOIL, and EcoBank. I'm Nashika Caesar. Coming up, trade associations urge United States government to reconsider newly imposed 10% tariff on Ghanaian exports. Also coming up, scrapping of e-levy to accelerate digital payment adoption. This is according to the Electronic Money Issuers Chamber of Ghana. And later, organized labor calls on President Mahama to proceed carefully with directive to suspend post-retirement contracts. Let's settle for the details of our stories now. 3 key trade associations in the country are urging the U.S. government to reduce or completely waive the newly imposed 10% tariff on Ghanaian exports to the United States. The appeal comes as the government opens negotiations with U.S. authorities to seek relief from the broader tariff policy, which affects multiple exporting countries, including Ghana. Daniel Udumensa has more in the following reports.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, the Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association of Ghana, and the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, FABAC, have all expressed concern over the potential impact of the newly imposed 10% tariff on their respective industries. The president of the Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Dr. Felix Mauli Kamasa, expressed optimism about ongoing government negotiations with the U.S. aimed at addressing the issue.
Our sector, like the yam exporters, is going to hit them because some of the buyers, they require that you pay the freight here before the goods get to them. Okay. So adding that 10% extra levy on the cost, what we are paying now, is going to reduce some of our exports. I'm happy the Ministry of Trade and then Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they already meet the U.S. ambassador. They had a couple of discussions. And this week, I can say in authority that we are meeting Ministry of Trade during the week to look at some of the challenge, what they can do to even push it further down.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, while advocating for a reduction in the 10% tariff, also called for a review of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGWA, which grants duty-free access to goods in sectors such as agriculture, textiles, and leather. Dr. Joseph Obing is the president of the association.
The fact that the price is going to go up will also affect the flow of trade and all that. Yes, admittedly, that's why we want government to still pursue and then get some results. At least it should be taken off the table. We are going to plead that they give us some extension for the AGWA. Because they gave it the opportunity for us to assess the market, to build our capacity, but I don't think we are there yet, and so we should use that as a leverage. Once it is in their constitution, is the state policy, then of course, then we have an upper hand even more than the other countries.
The executive chairman for the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, John Awini, has also thrown its support behind the call for a review of the new tariff policy.
Essentially, the businesses will always have to look for new market opportunities because essentially tariffs are anti-trade. Tariffs serve as trade barriers. And so where you find out that when you send up as a result of tariff hikes and barriers, your goods are not going to be purchased or demanded as they usually would be. You will look for markets that are more conducive. You look for markets that are friendly.
You heard the executive chairman of the Food and Beverages Association of Ghana, John Awuni, ending that report filed by my colleague Daniel Ojo-Mensah. Meanwhile, a financial economist, Professor Patrick Isumin, has opined that the United States tariff shift can help accelerate Africa's economic rise if the continent seizes the opportunity to strengthen economic integration.
Ghana is facing one of the lower levels, the 10% increase. We should ordinarily see it broadly as an opportunity to improve our own domestic production efficiency, and then also, but use it as get an impetus to invest a lot more in our own domestic production to improve our cost of production, and then also working with other African countries to improve the functioning of the AFCFTA, because it's becoming increasingly clear that we can't rely on the global West the way we have relied on the past. We know that Ghana has been, and other African countries have been enjoying duty-free and quota-free export to the U.S. under the AGOA program. It clearly looks like that's not the case.
Professor Patrick Isumin is a financial economist. Moving on, the scrapping of the e-levy removes a key barrier to digital transactions and presents an opportunity to scale up efforts aimed at driving financial inclusion and efficiency across Ghana's economy. This assertion by the Electronic Money Issuers EMI's Chamber of Ghana is in response to new findings from the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research (ISE) and Retail Finance Distribution, which reveal that only 37% of businesses in Ghana currently accept or use digital payment. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the report, the Chief Executive Officer of the EMI's chamber, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, opined that the chamber is taking proactive steps to close the digital payment gap by enhancing financial literacy and improving infrastructure.
It would be interesting if we went back again after the e-levy had been repealed to be able to find out what actually is happening, and it would be able to tell us whether it also had some limiting effect on payments. But we have always known that we need to find a way of migrating beyond the P2P to payment, and the challenge with the digital the gender gap that we have and how we need to address it. So now we've been provided some further details, and for us from the EMI chamber and our members, we will take this and then find ways in which we design products that would be able to address this. For me, one of the challenges I have with the report, and I tell people every time, is the use of the word informal. Once you start treating it, using a discriminatory word for it, you don't pay attention to it. So maybe we could say they are non-registered and all of that, and find a way of being able to use technology to be able to push them.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of the EMI's chamber, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, speaking there. Moving on, the Ghana Airports Company Limited, GACL, has denied allegations linking two aircraft that landed at the Kotoka International Airport in March to drug trafficking. In a statement released on Monday, April 8, 2025, the Ghana Airports Company Limited stated that thorough security checks by aviation and national security authorities found no illegal substances on board either plane. The clarification follows claims by Member of Parliament Reverend John Intim-Fodjo that the aircraft were used to transport cocaine and cash to Spain. The Ghana Airports Company Limited described the allegations as fictitious and malicious. Moving on, organised labour is urging President Mahama to proceed carefully with his directive to suspend post-retirement contracts. The government recently announced a suspension without stating reasons. Secretary General of the TUC, Joshua Ansah, says the move could strip the public sector of valuable experience and expertise. He called for broader consultation to avoid unintended consequences, especially in critical sectors that rely heavily on retired professionals.
For me, I always say that the development of this country is the hallmark for every Ghanaian. So whatever policies that may come that will help improve, develop the country, I'm for it. But any policy that comes and try to bring the development of this country down, I don't think you go for it. So let's see how it works for Ghana.
Joshua Ansah is the Secretary General of the TUC. Now, the upcoming SIM card re-registration exercise in June is expected to be queue-free owing to a streamlined process designed to make registration more efficient and convenient for citizens. The Minister of Communications, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George, made this known during his visit to Margins ID Group. According to the Minister, citizens will register their SIM cards online, reducing the need for physical visits to the registration centres. The system will automatically verify citizen information, reducing manual processing times. This streamlined process is expected to save citizens time and improve accuracy, making the registration experience more convenient. Meanwhile, the Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, Sam George, is expected to later today address the press on key initiatives and developments within the sector. Now let's have a quick market check on the currency board across some forex bureaus, and the dollar is going for 15 cedis, 50 pesos. The British pound is going for 19 cedis, 50 pesos, while the euro is going for 16 cedis, 50 pesos. Remember that these are the rates being offered by the forex bureaus to the public. And that's all for the breakfast edition of the Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Coil and EcoBank. I'm Nashika Caesar. Many thanks for your company. Do have a great business day.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
Looking for a burst of flavor in every sip? Discover the refreshing taste of Piva beverages. Enjoy the classic Piva Cola flavor, perfect fit anytime. How about a fruity adventure? Try our delightful Piva orange fruit drink packed with recognized citrus flavor. Craving something exotic? Our Piva cocktail fruit drink brings the tropics to you. For a sweet and juicy treat, grab our grapefruit drink and don't miss out on the refreshing Piva Tangerine fruit drink, bursting with tangerine flavor. Piva Cola, Piva Orange, Piva Cocktail, Piva Grape, Piva Tangy. Grab yours today. Available now at your local store. Call us on 055-00-322-31. Piva, a taste you'd love. This advert is FDA approved.
P for Piva.
Oh, jump on now. Go, the go. Google me. At what time will you come back where I don't hear the sound of your car? Why you buy new car? No, I not change my car. It be the same ride. It be the fuel way I change. Way one shouts it. Ever since I started using the all-new Excellium Premium Fuel, fortified with 3-in-1 action. Oh, Joe, now my car they run like electric car. No, it's so. This is the type of fuel where they want to. Because now engine they cost. Where they want for way if I buy it, it go protect my engine. And with the small way I buy, I go drive, sir. Absolutely. It's like strapping a turbocharger to your engine and giving it a protector. And what they bust my mind, Seth, be the 3-in-1 action, no? Excellium, they prevent up to 99% of deposit. It be anti-wear, some be anti-corrosion. Won't pay when I open them. Hey, so where can I find this magical fuel? Just head over to any Total Energy service station and your car will thank you. Hey, they make a finish my gobe fast, then rush go Total Energies. My friend, but why your hand my gobe inside? I give you info. Make a feel the gobe too small. The go. Excellium is designed to protect your car engine, decrease fuel consumption, and lower CO2 emissions. Don't say fuel, say Excellium. Choose Excellium, choose quality.
Let's go. My body, when you wake up in the morning and you know the money calling, oh, you go work, but you know it's out in your side. If I believe with us, if I hold my hand and believe, oh, cause you know it's out in your side. And when you dream, no say I live by you. And when you hustle every day, when you wanna go, anything you do, I live by you. If I believe I'm in your side, fidelity. If I believe with us, fidelity. If I know I'm in your side, fidelity.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
I know, you do me bad, then you know what, miss you for my pillow, tears will soak my pillow, oh,
It's 15:57. Dear woman, Zenith Bank recognizes the hard work and balance you maintain at home, work, and in your business. Let's lend you a helping hand. How Zenith Bank's Women's Desk offers tailored financial services for women. Easy access to personal loans, business loans, access to financial literacy programs, and many more. Experience true support at Zenith Bank's Women's Desk, available at 37 branches, business locations nationwide. For more information on participating branches, visit zenithbank.com.gm. Zenith Bank Women's Desk, empowering women with financial solutions. Zenith Bank, in your best interest. And if you're looking for a delicious snack for both kids and adults, try Bell Moo flavored milk. Bell Moo comes in chocolate and sweet strawberry flavors. It's perfect for any time of the day, for your lunch boxes, after school snacks, or a quick pick me up. For bulk distribution, call 0544 335 900, 0544 335 800. Bell Moo is maliciously delicious, another quality product from Bell Alcohol. It's time for Kickoff. Kickoff is brought to you by Lesheho, Zonda, and Shell. The Lesheho Don't Call Me campaign has come to you because you deserve financial peace. Life comes with financial challenges, but with Lesheho, you don't have to face them alone. From now until April 30, 2025, we've reduced our interest rates just for you. Whether it's education, rent, or unexpected expenses, we've got the right loan to meet your needs. Simply WhatsApp or call Nana 0270-040-799 or 0270-040-733. Let's make life easier together. Act now before the offer ends. T's and C's apply. Let's show. Let's improve life. It's time for Kickoff, and Edwin Kwaokofi is here with Kickoff.
Rice or Erdogan? It's Rice again! Oh! My goodness! He might. Fran Trossard. Lewis Skelly. It's three! It's Mikel Merino!
Wednesday morning, welcome aboard to Kickoff on the City Breakfast Show with me, Edwin Kwakofi. Kickoff is powered by Zonda GH, Shell Go Well, and Lesheho, Let's Improve Life. We start from the Champions League. Well, Declan Rice stunned Real Madrid with two brilliant free kicks, the first scored in his career, as Arsenal took a commanding 3-0 first leg lead in their Champions League quarter-final. Arsenal have not reached the semi-final stage of the Champions League since the 2009 season, but they have given themselves a huge chance of progressing to the last four with this result. Here's Arsenal's magician last night, Declan Rice.
I can't, Mike. I can't describe it honestly. I don't think it's going to hit me what I've done tonight. Two free kicks in a quarter-final at home against Real Madrid. It's special. I'm so happy. Probably the best moment in my career for sure. Thierry's holding the trophy that he's won probably 100 times in his career.
Look,
first one, so I'm obviously buzzing. But yeah, it was.
They already gave it to him, and I just wanted to make the gesture because the game tonight, guys. I just gonna go in if you allow me. First and foremost, like the game that you had is just. It was crazy the way you played, but you looked like you played the game because you wanted to prove a point. I don't know to who. To your teammates, the fans, or some people, I don't know what, but you were possessed tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in these big games, I always try to step up, and I just thought go out there and have no fear. What have you got to lose? It's a game of football against Real Madrid. If you're going to have fear, good things ain't going to happen. And we really believed as a team that we could win tonight. And went out there every time we had the ball. We tried to be a threat. I tried to run with it as much as I can.
That was Arsenal's hero against Real Madrid, Declan Rice. Well, speaking of Real Madrid, let's hear from one of their star players, Jude Bellingham.
Were Arsenal very good tonight? Were Real below your level tonight?
Both. I think we were nowhere near it. That's the fact. And Arsenal were really good. I think I know that 2 of their goals were free kicks and really good individual pieces of delivery. But to be honest, they could have had way more. We're lucky to get away with 3. But there is a second leg. That's the thing that we're kind of holding on to. We're going to need something unbelievably special. Something crazy, really. But if there's one place where crazy things can happen, it's our house.
That was Real Madrid's Jude Bellingham speaking after the loss to Arsenal in Germany. Inter Milan struck late to put themselves in a strong position to advance to the Champions League semi-finals after winning the first leg of the Al-Assad tie at Bayern Munich. Defeat also ended Bayern's 22-match unbeaten home run in the Champions League dating back to 2021. Here's Bayern boss Vincent Kompany.
It doesn't matter, it is the result. But we had opportunities, we had chances. We can definitely score more than 1 goal. But okay, at the end of the game, we saw a lot of celebrations. So, okay, but from our side, it's halftime and it's 2-1. And we are motivated for the next game.
That was Bayern boss Vincent Kompany. The second leg at the San Siro takes place on Wednesday, the 16th of April, with the overall winners going on to play either Barcelona or Borussia Dortmund. The fun continues later tonight. Barcelona take on Dortmund at 7 p.m. at the Camp Nou. PSG take on Aston Villa at the Parc des Princes. Unai Emery, of course, heading back to his former employers. Let's hear from Unai ahead of tonight's tie.
Good evening. I spent here two years and always thankful. And I learned, I had here experiences, and everything I did before, of course, is in my back, and trying to transform for my moment now as a coach like I am. And feeling good. It's the first time I am again here in Paris and in Parc des Princes. It is something special for me, special, and of course very proud of how I am coming back here, playing with Aston Villa Champions League and trying to enjoy this quarter of finals.
That was Aston Villa boss and former PSG boss Unai Emery. The Spaniard won 7 trophies in his 2-year spell at PSG between 2016 and 2018. Some good news now for England, and they are guaranteed a minimum of 5 teams in the Champions League next season after Arsenal's victory over Real Madrid in the quarter-final first leg. 1 win in any of the 3 European competitions would have secured the 5th place for England. 2 extra spots are awarded to countries based on their ranking in UEFA's coefficient table. So this means that England could have as many as 7 teams in the Champions League next season if Aston Villa win the competition this year but fail to qualify through the Premier League, and if United or Tottenham win the Europa League. Away from the UCL in Ghana, the Minister of Sports and Recreation, Kofi Adams, has set up a 7-man committee of inquiry to investigate matters connected to the death of Nigerian boxer Gabriel Oluwasegun Olaranwaju. The committee is headed by Major retired Amakai Amatefio, with former Ghana Boxing Authority President Peter Zwenes and veteran sports journalists Eko Ansa and Samuel Bartels also on it. Olaranwaju passed away at the Kolibu Hospital after collapsing during a bout at the Trust Sports Emporium Boxing Arena at Bukum. More local football, and we tend our attention to the women's game, where the Black Queens of Ghana wrapped up their 9-day training tour in Senegal with a hard-fought but disappointing 1-0 defeat to the Teranga Lionesses in their second friendly match in Dakar. Despite a spirited performance, a defensive error allowed Senegal to clinch victory, leaving Ghana unable to equalize. Here's Kim Lasbiokegrin, the Black Queens boss, speaking after the game.
We changed half of the team between those two games, and of course there were many players that haven't played together before. So of course when you put almost a new group together or a new starting 11, that can be a little bit difficult because football is so much about natural relations. If you start to think, then the situation is over. So sometimes you just need to let the feet play the game. And I felt we didn't. So we came into the Senegal way to play, and in the end, I think it was a close game. Not so many chances for any of the teams. Normally a 0-0 game, but they scored, and there's nothing I can do about it now. So it's just congratulations to Senegal.
That was Black Queens boss King Lars Bjorkegren. Now, away from women's football, in a few days, the Legon Stadium will become the focal point of the 2025 CAF African Football Championship, hosting the event over 5 days. This marks the second time the UG Stadium will host a major CAF competition, having previously welcomed the 13th African Games in March 2024. My colleague Gabi Ofe was at the venue earlier today and filed this report.
The Confederation of African Football confirmed Ghana as the host of the 2025 CAF African Schools Football Championship several weeks ago, with the event scheduled to take place from April 21 to 26, 2025. The Continental Finals will be held at the University of Ghana's Legon Sports Stadium in Accra, marking the first time the tournament final stage will be hosted in West Africa. Previous editions were held in Southern Africa, South Africa 2023, and East Africa, Tanzania 2024. Since its inception, the program has engaged over 1,965,000 boys and girls from 46 countries, making it Africa's most successful youth sports mobilization initiative. The Legon Sports Stadium, which previously hosted the men's football tournament during the 13th African Games, is set to be a bustling hub once again, with minor renovation work underway to prepare for the championship in just under 2 weeks.
So I only remember that CAF officials were here earlier on, so they have their own discussions. And as usual, like what happened even to the World Cup qualification, they always come to make sure that our stadia or fields meet their requirement and standards. So there are some renovations to be done, and the renovations are basically pitch work. It's not that the stadium is defaced or something. No, it's just typically pitch work. And these are things that have been there even during the African game. We were even told that the pitches, all our pitches, not this pitch alone, all our pitches didn't meet standards.
Ghana will make its debut at the CAF African Schools Football Championship Continental Finals on home soil, having failed to qualify for the previous two editions. The University of Ghana Sports Directorate views the gathering of participating countries as a significant opportunity to demonstrate Ghana's capability to successfully host a major football event while promoting the sport's values.
Resonate with our thoughts and the way we want to see sports grow. So we think that as even they come to do sports here, these are youth, they will go back in their various countries carrying the message of University of Ghana, carrying what they've seen at the University of Ghana, carrying in their mind that they've come to see a home, a place that has virtually all the facilities compared to any other countries they are coming from.
The report was put together by my colleague Gabi Ofe, and that's the latest in the world of sports. For more on all these stories, visit citysportsonline.com. Kickoff is powered by Shell Go Well, Zonda GH, and Lesheco. Let's improve life. I am Edwin Kwakofi. The City Breakfast Show with Bernard Avler continues.
Unique services, innovative financial solutions. We deliver on our promise, cause we are number one. Let's share go, we improve your life. Let's share go, let's share go, mama. Even when you're stuck with nothing, no matter your situation, let's share go, we improve your life. Let's share go, let's share go, let's share
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
7:30. Coming up next is the Money Matters segment, and it's brought to you by Petra. Petra, achieve more.
Welcome to the Money Matters segment with Petra. Investment doesn't have to be hard. It's not about how much you start with, but how consistent you are. Let's say you earn 6,000 cedis a month. Set aside just 10%, that's 600 cedis before you spend a thing. Do this every month, and in a year, you will have 7,200 cedis saved, even before interest. The trick is making savings a habit, just like paying rent or buying fuel. And to make it effortless, automate your savings so you don't even have to think about it. Petra is here to help with secured high-interest savings solutions that let your money grow without stress. Start small, stay consistent, and watch your savings multiply. Dial *447 *70# to speak to a financial advisor today.
So that was your Money Matters segment brought to you by Petra. Petra, achieve more.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
If you have 250 Ghana cedis right now, it can do wonders for you. Chairman, Fabeji, it could turn your tears into joy in the Access Bank Fakitwa Beji Kese promo. Madam, Fabeji, it could get you up to 50,000 Ghana cedis cash prize. Business owner, Fabeji, as a student, make transactions with your Access Bank card, and that could get you Spotify and Netflix subscriptions, PS5, iPhone 16 Pro Max, and more. This be out of class senso. Fabeji, you see what 250 Ghana cedis can do for you? And Gasakra. Fabeji, it's the Access Bank Fakitwa Beji Kese promo. Deposit a minimum of 250 Ghana cedis and its multiples in your new or existing account and be on your way to winning a share of the 580,000 Ghana cedis in cash prizes and other amazing rewards. The more you deposit, the more your chances of winning. Promo runs from now to September 2025. This promo is in partnership with NLA on the Caritas Lottery platform. Terms and conditions apply. Access Bank, more than banking.
Babe, trust me. I've seen bigger, wider.
How big?
So big.
Hey! Friday, 11th April is the official launch of the new So Big Electromart showroom, Atomic Junction. Come, turn on the modern life.
See, your rich auntie gets more from Absa. Your childhood friend gets more from Absa. Your favorite uncle gets more from Absa. Your roommate's cry gets more from Absa. Digital solutions get more from Absa. Rewards we bring get more from Absa. 5-star treatment get more from Absa. Preferential rate get more from Absa. Easy banking and no ane Absa. Instant loans and no ane Absa. Bank papa party and no ane Absa. FTK account and get more from Absa. Yes! Join thousands of Absa customers enjoying priority treatment, preferential rates, amazing rewards, and seamless digital solutions to help you write the next big chapter of your story. Sign up for an Absa account today and get more. Your story matters. Absa.
Come on, come on. Good boy. Honey, look, he's crawling. Wow. Good job.
The new Cerelac Wheat and Maize has the combined goodness of wheat and maize grains fortified with iron, vitamins, and minerals also found in fruits and vegetables. To prepare the new Cerelac Wheat and Maize, just add milk. Enjoy your little one's big moments at less cost. Cerelac, care for them, count on us. This advert is FDA approved.
You awesome like Samsung Galaxy. Get out the way, get out the way. Make way for the boss. Get out the way, You need long-lasting battery life for this party. Take a picture, my sister. Boss. Choose a phone like a boss. Show me your Samsung Galaxy. Wait till this morning. Boss. Take a picture, my sister. Boss. Choose a phone like a boss. Show me your Samsung Galaxy A. And a baby man, boss. Get out the way, make way for the boss.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is City 97.3.
The City Breakfast Show. Rise above the noise.
On the City Breakfast Show, and as always, somebody is celebrating their birthday today. Today, the 9th day of April 2025. And let me just run through a few requests. Good morning. Please wish my mother-in-law, Madame Winifred Okanta Ano of Kofredia, a glorious happy birthday. Wishing her all the best in life from her grandchildren, Nana Akosia, Jeremy, her daughter, Mrs. Mary Damte Lincoln, and her son-in-law, Abraham Lincoln Damte of ECG Kofredia. Good morning, team. Please wish my dear husband, Daddy David Carl Dudu, a happy 40th birthday. You've been an amazing husband, father, and I pray that all your dreams come true. We love you dearly. From Barbara, Alexis, and Asha.
Have you ever seen this man moving?
Super special birthday to Mrs. Charity Grace Hayward Amate of St. Theresa's Catholic Church, Kaneshi. Also with Vita Milk GH. Sister Charity, you have our best thoughts and prayers. Enjoy your day and celebrate in style. And hey, God bless. From your children, Sharon, Celine, CJ, your grandson, NK, and of course yours truly, the Cardinal himself, Cephas Haywood Amate. And as he will say, God bless. Akraka Haywood Amate. And this is Haywood Amate. And then a more good morning from Jimmy Ebo Grant Tadi to my sweet lady's mother and daughter, Thelma Abana Note and Michaela Note, both in Anya.
Anaji, that must be Anaji in Tadi.
Anaji.
Yeah, so if it's Tadi, then it's
Anaji, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that place. Yeah. Wishing my lovely wife, Dr. Abena Foriwa Sapong of Kolebu Polyclinic, a happy 40th birthday. Honey, I love you forever. Your husband Humphrey in the UK. Collins Bakudie from Asante Mampong, or is it Bakudi? Bakudie sounds like it. Yeah. Good morning, Bernard. Please extend my warmest birthday wishes to my lovely wife, Rita Bando, on a special day. I pray that God bless her with abundant joy, guidance, and unwavering protection in the coming year. May she continue to shine with grace, strength, and beauty, just like the radiant tulip in full bloom. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And it's 7:40 on the City Breakfast Show. So many things on my mind this morning. Very, very interesting article by Dr. John Osai Kwapong in the Graphic today.
Okay.
He revisited a chicken and egg situation. Strong men or strong institutions. I urge you to get it and read. Very, very interesting indeed. Then the BNFT had a front page story that said Ghana spends billions of dollars on foreign shipping. We still don't have a vibrant local shipping industry. If you want to ship something sometimes to places in Africa, you have to go all the way to Europe before you can come back down to Ghana or other parts of the continent. So something we should be talking about. Then of course, the big tariff debates. Charlie, I was giving Charlie, I don't even want to go there. I was giving a bill yesterday for a thing we were importing. Oh, Caleb. You know, I just closed and went home. when they sent me that, I just went home. Hey, my brother.
Wow.
You know, it was terrible. Like the way they even calculate the base.
Yeah.
So like maybe you want to import a car that you bought in 2018. Yeah. So let's assume the car costs you $29,000 to buy.
Yeah.
All right, in 2018. And then you've used the car for, I don't know, 2018 is how many years? Maybe 8 years.
Yeah.
So the value of the car is supposed to be like maybe 21,000 or 20,000 USD. So you'd expect your taxes to be calculated on the 20K or the 21K. They will calculate the tariffs on the value of the car at the time you bought it.
Wow.
Charlie, and the thing that makes the whole thing funny is that there is a basic duty you pay. So let's assume you pay a duty of say 20,000 cedis.
Yeah.
Then you're supposed to pay another thing called the import VAT. The import VAT is more than the tariff. So I add the import VAT to the tariff, and I counted almost 16 tax items.
At the ports, right?
My brother. So I think one of the places that needs to be unclogged, but I'm not even talking about, so I'm coming to this on different angles.
Yeah.
Cost of doing business. So let's assume what I was importing was a machine I was going to use.
Yeah.
The duty on it makes it really, really difficult for me to price my product in a way that would be
competitive.
Yes. So I think our ports have become, frankly, places of exploitation. The GRA said they have surpassed their target for the first quarter or something. I think they said that.
I saw that too.
And fine, that's great. They said tax compliance, etc., etc. They've done well. But I really, really think if we don't find a viable way of producing local raw materials, we can never be competitive productively.
True.
Because if the part I'm using is not, if I don't get a tax waiver on it, the guys at the port will just kill you. And the bad thing about this is that if you are not able to clear it in a specific time, they will basically
demurrage, right?
Exactly. So you are going to have your whatever you are importing, whether it's a car or a machine or whatever, you're going to basically lose it to an auction.
And it'll be sold cheaply.
Yeah. So I really, really think that the port, so the government has to make a decision between, do we maximize revenue or do we stimulate production? I think that in everything you do, you lose something, all right? You know, somebody was talking to me about some decision they had to take and the fact that when they do this, they will lose that. And I said, well, for every decision you take, there's something you lose. So I think government's revenue maximization may be good, but I think our ports have become
prohibitive
citadels of exploitation. So I just want to read through the taxes I'm paying, or we are supposed to pay. Import duty, import VAT. Luckily, there was no processing fee. Then we have ECOWAS levy, a dim. Vehicle examination levy, it's a car,
4.
a dim. Network charge,
5.
Then I was to also pay network charge VAT,
6.
Network charge COVID-19 health,
7.
Because VAT has not been removed, COVID is still there. Ghana Shippers Authority SNF fee,
8.
Import NHIL,
9.
Network charge NHIL,
10.
GHS disinfection fee,
11.
MOTI EIDF fee,
12.
Special import levy,
13.
Ghana Export Import Bank Exim levy,
14.
Ghana Education Trust Fund import,
15.
Network charge get fund levy,
16.
Africa Union import levy,
17.
COVID health recovery levy,
18.
So this is what I'm saying. We are not ready to be a production powerhouse as a country. I think we are just joking. We are basically using the port to get all the money we can. And this applies to many things. This is not just cars. You pay this for a machine. Let's assume you are manufacturing a shoe, you are importing a part, you will pay this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the amount of money you pay to import a car, you can use it to buy two used cars in Ghana.
Meanwhile, we are trying to reduce the usage of older vehicles on our roads because of the emissions and the environmental impact it has on us. So we are not encouraging people to get newer cars with the kind of prohibitive duties we have at our ports. And mind you, we are facing a lot of competition from other other nations that have ports. For example, a lot of people are preferring to do business with the Lome ports. You know, the Importers and Exporters Association raised concerns last year sometime because they give us some figures. They compare Tema's ports. Traffic has increased, yes, but they tell us that rapidly Lome's ports has seen significant increase from 300,000 containers per annum in the early 2000s to 1.5 million containers. So the duties we are charging on items like vehicles in particular, it's becoming very prohibitive. And I remember the doctors raised concerns recently. I don't know if you recall. You know, at some point the previous government waived those duties that doctors and healthcare professionals pay on vehicles when they import them. But I think that has been taken off, and doctors have been complaining. In fact,
it's a very serious situation. So for me, what I'm saying is that look. And somebody was asking me what we produce in Ghana competitively. Okay. Now, if you can get something produced here with raw materials produced here, all the better. Which is why people talk about agriculture and value addition. Because, but even that, all right, the cost of bringing a machine into this town is very, very prohibitive. Number of years, and that their dependence on U.S. imports has reduced. Okay, exports into US has reduced from 19 to like 14%. And they also import from the US as well. So my point is that every country imports, and we have to figure out as a country what we want to achieve. I think with the way Trump is going, we need to improve our production base as a country and take advantage of the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. To do this, our port must not be a place which becomes prohibitive for bringing in particularly inputs, all right? If somebody wants to import, let's assume somebody wants to be an Uber driver, so he has some money, he wants to import a car. The amount of money he will spend to import that car, it will be too much for him to make any profit.
I mean, the duty may be more than the actual cost of the vehicle.
And you know, so when this morning, Nashika was reading the news and she said, oh, the GRA say that they have surpassed
in their first quarter.
Look, it's great, right? It's great for GRA, but it would be nice to see the breakdown of the GRA's revenue potential. Was it mostly from the what do you call it? The ports? Was it mostly from income taxes? Was it mostly from consumption taxes, sales tax, VAT? You know, and as we are sitting here, the government says they want to engage the IMF to help us to redraft the VAT, because the VAT has become outmoded. You know, effectively VAT is 21%. You know, the other thing is you do certain kinds of businesses where you have a transaction with somebody. So maybe somebody brings you, offers you a service. Now, VAT is charged on services to a point where it escalates the cost of doing your business. And sometimes even if you do like a barter arrangement, they will still come and say you have to pay VAT on it. You know, I really think that and of course the Commissioner General said it was increased compliance. There's a relationship between a reasonable tax policy and willingness to comply. The more complicated, the more prohibitive, the more unfair a tax system is, the more corruption. So I'm saying to the port people that, look, if you want to stop some of the kululu at the port, because this past 2 weeks, but this past 2 months, ECG containers missing at the port, all kinds of things, opioids coming through the port. Now, one way of making the port less attractive for thieves is to make things simple. All right, so fine, use technology, but also don't. It's because when you create all these taxes and people can't pay,
Yeah.
sometimes there's an incentive for people to frustrate you so that your thing will remain there, and then they'll auction it and sell
very cheaply.
You get it? So I think that the government must seriously think between Atufo's need for money,
yes,
and the Minister of Trade, what's her name?
Elizabeth Owusu-Jare.
Her need to boost production.
Yeah.
Every decision is complicated as a leader. He will tell you. So you may have to decide where we are now. Do we need to just maximize money at the ports, or do we need to stimulate production? And to stimulate production, you need inputs. And if the cost of bringing the input is too expensive, people cannot produce. And if people cannot produce, they cannot be competitive. And they don't produce, there's no jobs.
Yeah.
So government can make a lot of money at the port, but it doesn't translate to or result from productivity. I think the most important thing a country needs, let me use a very simple example. Here in this company, the most important thing we need is being productive. How innovative are our programs? So and that determines how much money we make. So the MD cannot get up and say, let's raise the charge for airtime by 200% because we want more money. That would just be foolish. What he needs to do is, okay, increase the value of the breakfast show so that if I even increase the cost of a segment, I'll make money. So you don't start by saying, Mr. Money, go and increase charges. No. You say, Bernard, what are you doing? Vivian, how come your news product is outmoded? So you increase the product. When the product is better, the value is higher, then he can then say, Mr. Money, how come you're not selling? Because this program is the best program in the country. Do you get it? He doesn't go and say, hey, sales, we need money, so go ahead. But what we do in Ghana is that we say, okay, let's increase the charges so that we can rake in the revenue and then we can use the revenue to build the road for you. But if the country is not productively producing anything,
yeah,
you can't employ anybody, nobody has an income, nobody can import anything. So in the chicken and egg between revenue and production, production must win. So production and productivity must be the basis of government's fiscal and monetary and every policy. Because if the citizens are producing, then you increase their revenue and their employment and their income. Then you, government, will get money as a consequence of that production. Okay? Then you also reduce because right now what you're going to have is that a lot of companies will have their material. So for example, even the ECG containers, I think sometimes the prohibitive cost of clearing goods leads to items being stuck at the port for so long.
Yeah.
And this is not just containers for ECG. Even the
sometimes
oil,
medical supplies,
oil marketing companies. The port, I was at a program recently where the OMCs were complaining that one of the bottlenecks for them is the ports. You get it? Luckily, we have new leadership at the ports. I'm told they've brought some new guy. I really hope, of course, this is a problem. The people who manage the ports are just implementing the policy of the government. So it starts not from the people managing the port, but from the government's mindset about what the port is supposed to be used for. Okay, and I just want to appeal that businesses are struggling to find their level. So the GRA's increased money they are getting from taxes is not because we are doing better. It's because they are stifling and squeezing us. It's not because we are producing so much and making so much money that we are happily paying.
Yeah.
So I'm saying tariffs, taxes, ports. I counted 16 items on this thing I'm importing. And if I don't pay this thing,
the thing goes well.
Demorage. They will auction the car and then ask my friend who say, you know.
The new GPHA boss is Brigadier General acting. He's acting.
Yeah.
He's Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanye Kolonu, Esquire.
I like yesterday's Natbo guy interviewed.
Yeah.
Sometimes the guy
solid
was sitting here and I was asking him whether he was a disaster professional. Apparently he was director of finance or something in the army. He was doing some financial role. But his knowledge in the disaster thing was impressive. Now
he's an army man.
That's what I'm going there. So I'm going to say is that. So now if you bring a brigadier into the port, hopefully he brings that mindset of efficiency,
discipline,
and also, I want a word, incorruptibility. Right? Efficiency.
To the port, you
yes,
mean?
Incorruptibility. So he's coming to say, I'm a new guy, I'm coming to a new team. Because I think that some of the frustration at the port is because people don't want to be corrupt. They want to just frustrate you so that you will pay more money. So if you have a leader at the port who has the right discipline and has the right orientation and is honest and rewards good work, we're going to have a more efficient port. And we have a more efficient port, you have a lower cost of bringing in your inputs and you have a lower cost of business. Like for example, even let me come to your example. Let's assume you want to buy what do you even buy for this business? Maybe you want to bring in some equipment. Cameras. Right. The cost of the machine may be say $3,000. Sometimes what you pay at the port could be 30-40% of that. Okay, it's making cost of business unnecessarily high. And I know government needs revenue. But if businesses start collapsing, there's no way the government is going to make any money. So they must always prioritize ease of doing business, reduce the cost of doing business. Of course, we shouldn't cheat the government. But you can't be paying 17 items on one product. How? Import duty, import VAT, import NHIL, special import levy, exempt levy, network charge, get fund levy, Africa Union import levy. It's like they're just adding adjectives. It's like they just look, it's not right.
In Ghana, we use taxes normally to validate our, to wipe away our guilt of inefficiency and ineffectiveness, so that when we have been ineffective in achieving an objective, financial as it may be, we believe that slapping taxes will bridge the gap. But it draws all of us into a vicious cycle where companies or organizations also find other ways to beat the tax system, and then the community of workers who are in that space also find ways of making a living out of the inefficiencies.
Correct.
And over a long period of time, it becomes an established culture that is advertised, that attracts people who get into the space for employment. So the person is going to be employed there. He's not thinking about his salary. He's thinking about, as we say, the connections that are associated. So this thing has gone on. President Atamils drove his car, went to the port. We all saw that. You understand? Bernard, you talk about the military, I mean, not the person, but the military discipline.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a military discipline, to a point, it will yield the results. But this is not the kind of bureaucratic military establishment.
Civilian setup.
Yes, and it takes proper leadership and conforming to ethical behavior. You understand? That's how come when you have a good leader there, but the culture is bad, nothing happens.
And the worst part is that they calculate the thing using exchange rate. So even though they say we are Citi chopping economy, anything you are bringing, they will charge dollars and then they'll use exchange rate to charge how much you are supposed to.
But they advise hotels not to charge in dollars.
Sometimes it doesn't make sense.
They advise hotels whose inputs, apart from electricity, everything is in dollar. The food they buy, everything is in dollar. They say they shouldn't charge in. So let's think through our processes in service delivery. This port issue, look, we've had military people at the port.
Still,
I mean, influencing the way things are done at the port. Everybody will remember warrant officer Nkwantabisa in the 80s, 90s. He lived at the port, and within that period, you don't dare. Nkwantabisa, you won't dare. But Charlie, what happened? That's the point. So strong institutions, strong leadership, but more importantly, strong culture.
And the policy. the culture, and the policy. Let me do a few announcements. It's 8:01. Don't just watch. Feel every moment of passion like a true football fan. From conducting every pass. I know you were conducting the Arsenal passes yesterday. Analyzing every play and celebrating every goal. Even me, yesterday, when Arsenal scored the third goal, I got up and I applauded. Charlie, no, yesterday, I bow to...
I want to say good morning to Edwin Kwakofi.
He got it right, eh?
He got it right, but in a sarcastic form.
No, he penalized it.
No. I actually asked him. He said that he wasn't happy with how dismissive people of Real Madrid. Remember, I said the same thing. Arsenal. Sorry.
Yes,
Remember, I said the same thing yesterday. That people are like,
Arsenal will just go and collect.
Yeah, like how can you look at this Real Madrid team,
yes,
and think that Arsenal have no chance? I think that was.
So he said Arsenal was going to win,
and he said 3-0.
He's the only person I know in
but,
this world
but so the way he said it, he said because they have people like Sterling, they have people like
he was no.
But he was sure that as he thought that Arsenal were going to win. I asked him about
it. If I go that someone.
No, he said he was sure that he said he was.
See the way the game was going. Initially, I was worried for Arsenal because at some point they were dominating
and they were missing chances.
Yes, and then the keeper was just catching too many balls. The Courtois. It's like these guys will they come and ruin it? Courtois got like 5 good chances.
You see, if Declan Rice hadn't done what he did, we'd be saying Courtois is man of the match.
Yes,
seriously,
because Courtois got almost.
He did very well.
And you see, this has been my issue with Real Madrid for a while. There's so many games where Courtois is man of the match. Yeah. Then someone up front just does something and scores, and then they will take someone and everyone will say,
he did very well.
Yesterday, Partey was good. You know, I told you.
Oh,
Partey versus Camavinga. I told you.
It's not. You see, let me just say something before we go on. No. I will stand by what I said.
Camavinga has more energy, and that got him the second yellow.
Oh, I'll stand by what I said because if I'm to say that because Partey outplayed Camavinga, I'm changing my opinion. I have to now come and also say Saka is better than Vini Jr. No. Merino is better than Mbappe.
No, that's not what you're saying.
No, but do you understand what I'm saying? For me to change my opinion,
it's not like for like because in the midfield battle. Partey dominated.
But
Saka didn't play against Vini necessarily.
But Modric was there. Bellingham was there. What did they do?
That's true though.
So if we are going to say that, we can also say Bellingham.
Fair enough.
You see.
Yeah, but the truth is that yesterday was a great day.
100%.
Arsenal was amazing. In fact, I was just doing an announcement. I forgot where I was. I'm saying that so from conducting every pass, analyzing every play, and celebrating every goal, MasterCard is saying that you should look out for our booth at Accra Mall, Decathlon store on the weekend starting 28th March to 30th April for a chance to win branded MasterCard memorabilia and engage with your favorite stars. So it promises to be truly priceless. MasterCard, proud supporter of non-stop fans. All right, now Tech and Social Media Trends is where we are. It's brought to us by
First Bank Ghana and Telecel. If you're sending money to the sub-region, Nigeria, Gambia, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea specifically, or to Kenya, Djibouti, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, it's very easy now, convenient and exciting through the Pan-African payment and settlement systems. Perhaps you can send and receive money to and from any of these countries. All you need to do is to visit any of our branches nationwide with your cash, and your money is transferred in no time. To receive money, you would need a First Bank Ghana account. This is one way we put you first. For more information about PAPS, please call 0596 921 921. First Bank, you first. And if you're looking for the best value data and voice offers that are tailored to your unique needs, at Telecel, we understand everyone has their own preference. That's why we have the unbeatable Made For Me bundles made just for you. The Made For Me bundles are affordable, customized data and voice packages personalized for you. Simply dial *530# or download the Telecel Play app to subscribe to your special Made For Me bundle. Telecel, connecting energies.
I guess we've already set the tone for what's trending this morning.
I'll start with the Ghana specific trends first, and then we'll go back to the sports. So the Ghana Airports Company Limited and Kutuka International Airports are trending. So again, we are back on our controversy on airmed, cocaine, and other matters arising. So the Ghana Airports Company Limited released a statement, responding to some of the statements that have been made in the media. So the highlights of them are the landing permits are not issued by the Ghana Airports Company Limited, but rather the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. That all security checks were conducted on the aircrafts and nothing was found. And and the managing director has not spoke to Mr. Ntim Fojo. So those are Reverend Ntim Fojo. So those are some of the highlights from the letter, and that's just them kind of placing themselves in the controversy and debunking what they feel they can debunk, and that's so more to go on. And speaking of that, but only tangentially, Felix Kwachio Fusu is also trending.
Oh my God.
He had an interview with our colleague Umaru Sanda, and he said some interesting things. I think what is really trending the most was his comments about Galamsey.
That Galamsey cannot be solved in a day.
Exactly.
People are wondering if he knew that in opposition.
Exactly, because
politicians.
as we know, there were a lot of very strong statements made about Galamsey. I think one of the most notable ones was Sam George saying that it would take a week for President Akufo-Addo to end Galamsey if he wanted. He said President Akufo-Addo could end it in a week if he wanted.
He had the political will.
If he wanted to. Yeah. So if the fact that it hasn't ended shows that he doesn't want to. So we are here and we are about 3 months in.
3 months in.
We're about 3 months in and Galamsey doesn't seem to be stopping. So all of these things are coming back up and people are wondering why they are struggling to end Galamsey. And when you come out with these comments, it makes you look even less credible. So a lot of people are very upset. So I think Galamsey was one of the hot button issues that made people want to kind of vote for the NDC, and the fact that it was getting worse. So I think it's, and we saw it even in the Musa Dankwe survey that the Galamsey part of the president's performance was the lowest part. People were not impressed by that. So these comments definitely will not help that. So it just goes to show that people are still concerned about Galamsey, and the government has to respond strongly. So in other news, I'll talk about the US tariffs on China. Donald Trump has announced that the China tariffs are going to rise to 104% in response to China's response to his tariffs. So the response to the response is a 104% rise, 104% tariff on Chinese goods being imported to the United States. And this is very important because iPhones are produced in the United States. So the price of an iPhone is about to get a lot more expensive, because if it's 104% tariff, that's more than...
Can I go through that again? So the Chinese or the Americans, who is putting a tariff on who?
So the first tariff was I think he put, maybe was it 30, 40, whatever. He puts it on China. So China to respond was it 34%, if I remember correctly. So because they responded, he wanted them to come and beg, because that's his whole thing. I'm putting tariffs on you for you to come and beg and let's make a deal. But because the Chinese responded with more tariffs, he decided that he announced that the tariffs are going to rise to 104%.
But the iPhone is produced in China, but it's an American-owned company.
I think because it's produced, then they have to import it.
So then that's going to damage the business of Apple.
Yeah, well, that's why they're saying Apple are thinking about moving manufacturing to India.
Wow.
So that's it. So now, like you said, the trending topic we started discussing, the football, of course. So Declan Rice and Thibaut Courtois are the top two players in this trend. I think
100 million well spent.
I think so. I think. Look, a lot of people were surprised by but he's been showing that on the corners that he can whip the ball.
Charlie, the first one, he went around the wall.
I couldn't believe.
And then they showed Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the first one.
Charlie.
So the fact that he did it again was just. And this makes it even interesting, because there's this Twitter account that's been running a campaign against Mbappe. Has Mbappe scored a free kick? So that Twitter account, it got his day in there. So I said Declan Rice on the pitch, he scored two. Mbappe is just watching him. So that was an interesting one.
No, it was
so
a great
the
game.
Bernabeu is also trending, because the Madrid fans have said they are not worried.
Look,
that if you come to the Bernabeu,
they can never beat 4-0 Arsenal. They are not Liverpool.
They said they are coming to do it at the Bernabeu. Thomas Partey is trending.
Arsenal may actually even win the Bernabeu game.
You see, that's the thing. Arsenal have never lost to Real Madrid. They've played 3 times. They've won 1-0, 0-0, and 3-0.
I actually think that if Arteta beats Real Madrid and manages to beat whoever he meets in a semi-final, he has a good chance. There's a good chance.
They have a good chance, but I think that PSG
is dangerous.
I think PSG are better organized, because I think Madrid's issue is a lack of organization. So that's why Courtois is making. Because if you are making that many saves,
he made some 3 saves. Hit catch. Hey, I said this guy. Why?
Because truth be told, when you watch the way Real Madrid they're playing, it's like Arsenal were playing some team in the bottom half of the Premier League. The way they were creating chances. Seriously.
Anytime Arsenal plays well, it means it's the other team that is bad.
No, I'm not saying but you see, I'm not saying the other team is bad. I'm saying that Real Madrid were made to look like a team in the bottom half of the
Real
Premier
Madrid
League.
will not win the Bernabeu game.
Playing
like this.
We'll live to see.
All I'll say is that Arsenal need to score 1 goal, and they are fine.
They don't need to do anything.
Right. See, one of the structures of planning in football is that you mark specific people and their track records. the goals actually came from unlikely sources.
Yeah, so the Real Madrid were not even thinking about these guys. And of course, the free kicks were caused because they were under pressure.
And I saw that Rice did an interview where Odegaard told him to kind of cross it, and Saka told him to shoot, and he decided to listen to Saka and shoot. So when the first one went in, then by the time the second one came, he said, "Why not?"
So because the thing was foul.
Yes. So and also the way it curled around the wall, it was very
Beckham style.
Yeah, exactly. So it was very.
It will go into mini reels.
So a lot of other players, Thomas Partey is trending in Ghana. Of course, great performance.
He looked like a headmaster.
I tell you, conductor.
Yeah.
And you know, he was the one the ball was coming to. Yeah, so he was the one.
Have you seen that video of Coach Nimli saying that Partey? He said, "Come, give it to me. Come,
give it to me."
Exactly. That's exactly what he did.
Oh man.
And my friend Kamavinga is also trending, of course.
He went to get the red card.
He decided to disgrace me, but don't worry, the sun will shine on us.
Kamavinga is a very good player.
The sun will shine on us again. The sun will shine.
Yeah, but I hope Saka is not hurt.
No, I think because he's barely played for 3 months. So
Saka is very good.
Yeah.
Saka is a very good
and that's
player.
what I was saying. Look at how
But Merino.
And look at how he looked compared to Vinicius Junior. And I saw something about how Vinicius Junior didn't complete a dribble, didn't complete a cross, didn't create a chance.
No, Saka was very good. Saka was very good.
Yeah. So North London is also trending. I think Arsenal fans, they are having their day in the sun. Merino is trending. And the Real Madrid fans are asking for Ancelotti's head. So a very this match was so explosive that no one is talking about the Bayern Inter match at all.
The score.
He's even asking for the score. So Inter won 2-1.
Away?
Yes, away. Which wasn't surprising to me. I think Bayern have a lot of injuries.
So Inter is in a good position.
Very good position. Bayern have a lot of injuries, so it's not too surprising for me. But even then, I thought Inzaghi versus Company was a mismatch on the coaching front. So
Okay, let me push you before you go. What's your prediction for the final four?
Right now,
based on what we've seen,
I think Arsenal, Inter are set.
Inter will go.
Those two are set. I think Barca and PSG
look likely
because the gap is bigger in those ties. I think
I am tipping Unai Emery to do magic with Aston Villa because Unai Emery is one of the best coaches when it comes to knockouts.
Yeah, he's a very.
So even though PSG is a far better team, you play what is ahead of you.
But I think you see what I'll say is that right now. PSG is not PSG of old, relying on individual players.
They are a very good team.
You see how Real Madrid looked because they're a team that relies on individuals. PSG don't rely on. It's a team. So when you have a good setup, two very well set up teams, the player quality now becomes even more apparent because the coaching gap can't be bridged. There's no gap in coaching.
Right, so let's see how it goes. So you are not sure whether Aston Villa can beat?
Oh no, I think they can absolutely. I think Emery can do it, but I think that this is going to be the most difficult PSG team to face in many years. So I'm not too. So we'll just do.
Somebody wants me to ask: is Louis Kelly the son of Edu Tutu Skelly? You know Edu Tutu Skelly? You know the time Ghana hosted the under 20 World Cup. Nigeria hosted under 20 World Cup in 2008 or so. There was a guy in Ghana's team called Edu Tutu Skelly.
Okay.
So they asked whether it's Skelly's father. I don't think so.
Edu Tutu Skelly.
What's the news? Give me tech news.
A little bit of tech news that there's a the acronym, they make a lot of the chips. So the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company could face a penalty of $1 billion because there's an issue with the US export control, the US export control investigation over their chips and how they ended up in a Huawei AI processor. So there's sanctions on Huawei by the Americans and Canada because of some espionage and all sorts of things. So because the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company has allegedly provided some chips to Huawei, they could be facing a $1 billion fine.
So they have money, so they should pay.
So this is all part of the trade wars that we are seeing and that kind of stuff.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Hey. So that was Tech and Social Media Trends, an extended version with Susu.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Auntie, Mammy Fufu 20 Ghana. Me Pefufu and Quine. Cecilia, send your Ghana Conidia, your bonus 010. Meme one nuni, tell you so dear. You so beyond in your pay. And Nuntini I made for me bundle. Your data and call packages are F4. Nya Maunkwa. Made for me bundles. Send you when need your home. But star 530 hash. Not top made for me bundles. Cecilia.
Telecel. Connecting energies.
You're looking for a bank to rely on. Let me give you a shoulder to lie on. Wouldn't we say to banky baby? No lie, only one place where I get my eye on. Make I introduce you all to First Bank, the best services in the world, first rank. Customer service, everything is well planned. I make music, I travel, I sell land. They be my reserve tank. Cause every time I know my money's safe. Universal banking ain't in me here on the date. I'm a busy person, me no many time to wait. Now I got to Spain, even when I'm in the States. My me blue shirt. They tell me office a chilling, but who cares? Cause I bank with the best. I'm lucky, I'm too blessed. When it comes to First Bank, it's too west. Everything is you first. Woo!
Nobody feed do I'm like us. Do I'm like us. First Bank we treat you first. Treat you first. Somebody see yeah. Think about you first. Think about you first.
You first. First Bank.
Join the conversation on the City Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag CityCBS.
Basic bank is we're all. We've got what you need for your business and family. Whatever you need, you can count and call on us. Omni Basic Bank. Omni Basic Bank is we're all. We are not just another bank. Whatever you need, you can count and call on us. Omni Basic Bank. Omni Basic Bank. Not just another bank.
Put your phones in the air. Wave your awesome cameras. Where the party is. You awesome like Samsung Galaxy. Get out the way, get out the way. Make way for the boss. Get out the way, You need long-lasting battery life for this party. Take a picture, my sister. Boss. Choose a phone like a boss. Show me your Samsung Galaxy. Wave till this morning. Boss. Take a picture, my sister. Boss. Choose a phone like a boss. Show me your Samsung Galaxy. And a baby mommy. Boss. Get out the way. Make way for the boss.
Attention all Ghanaian students in basic to senior high schools. Want to win 15,000 Ghana cedis? Join the Kofi A. Terrier Good Citizenship Challenge now. Form a team of at least 5 students and embark on a community service initiative that will make a real difference. For more details, call 050-591-0960. The deadline to express your interest in this challenge is 24th April 2025.
Brush your teeth every day and night. Up and down and all around. Brush it feeling bright. Brush your teeth. Brush with mom and dad. Underneath and in between. Brush the germs away.
Pepsodent Cavity Protection.
For 10 times stronger.
This advert is FDA approved.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us us on 0302-246319 or 0302-246644. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Unleashing the power of relevant radio. This is City 97.3.
(21:08). Let's talk about the port. Let's talk about business. We'll receive your comments. What's been your experience at the port? How can we get it better? If you're looking for smarter, faster, and more secure way to manage your finances, look no further with the award-winning FAB or FAB mobile and internet banking solution. Banking is now easier, faster, and more convenient than you think. Join the Purple Bank today and experience the Purple experience, where convenience meets innovation. It's easy, safe, and secure. First Atlantic Bank, 2 times Digital Bank of the Year in a row. First Atlantic Bank, refreshingly different. Your living room deserves class, warmth, and memory.
Come on.
Buy Ashroom now.
Sharp.
Ashroom produces a master class range of sofas and couches here in Ghana. We design exquisite range of modern living room sofas and couches, center tables, wooden beds, headboards, dressers, bedside drawers, and more. Enjoy a 10% discount on any of our sofas and couches. You can visit any of our showrooms. Call 0243 200 729. Be mindful of internet fraud there, so if you're in doubt, just call 0243 200 729. We are the only ISO 9001 2015 certified. Ashfoam, feel it, know it.
And Vena Mineral Water has taken a bold step by removing its seal from the cap towards environmental sustainability. We're reducing plastic waste, and we've modified the design of our 500 ml, 750 ml, and 1.5 liter bottles by removing the cap seal, helping to minimize pollution and protect our planet. But that's not all. Vena bottles are made from BPA-free, eco-friendly plastic, ensuring your health and safety while delivering the same refreshing hydration you trust. Plus, the new lightweight design uses less plastic, making the bottles easier to compress and shrink for recycling. No seal, less waste, easy to compress and shrink for recycling. Less plastic, same great refreshment. Choose Vena and refresh with a purpose. Now we all want a little more sleep before the alarm goes off, a little more time to finish that project, and a little more butter for our bread. Because let's be honest, more is always better. Take my friend Nee, for example. When I caught up with him last week, I realized he was crafting a life of more with the Absa Ultimate account. The Absa Ultimate account isn't just a banking product for Nee, it's a chance to have more. Absa Ultimate account gives you retrenchment insurance cover of up to 50,000 Ghana cedis, hospital cashback benefits, access to seamless digital solutions, travel insurance of 1 million Ghana cedis, and over 30 benefits on that account. What's more, of course, if you want more, I believe so, you can get more by signing up with the Ultimate account today and get more. Your story matters, Absa. This one is to all the cybersecurity gurus, board executives, CISOs, CIOs, and CTOs. Sapient and Vision is a proud subsidiary of Innovari Limited, and they're inviting you to the CISO Summit 2025. The ultimate gathering for cybersecurity professionals is starting today to tomorrow at the Labadi Beach Hotel, Accra. The theme is Proven Strategies for Global Cyber Executives, Maximizing Organizational Security and Efficiency. Register now for 5,000 cedis. Group discounts are also available for 3 or more registrations from a company. To register, partner, or become an exhibitor, visit the CISOsummit.com. Call 0572 760 472 to secure your spots today.
25 minutes past the hour of 8. This is still the City Breakfast Show. We understand the unique journey of women in business, from juggling multiple responsibilities to navigating financial complexities and societal expectations. Your resilience and vision inspires. That's why we've created the She business account tailored to empower visionary women leaders like you. With collateral-free loans of up to 2 million CDs, insurance coverage, discounted loan interest rate, and capacity building programs, the She Business account is the banking solution for you. Visit the nearest ABSA branch or call 0302 429 150. Your story matters.
Man to man is so unjust. Children, you don't know who to trust. Your worst enemy could be your best friend, and your best friend, your worst enemy. Some will eat and drink with you, then behind them sus upon you. Only your friend know your secrets, so only he could reveal it. And who the cap fit, let them wear it. Who the cap fit, let them wear it. Said I throw me con, me no call no foul. I say in cup, clap, clap, clap. Hey. Some will hate you, pretend they love you now, then behind they try to eliminate you. But who jobless, no one curse. Thank God we're past the worst.
28 minutes past the hour. Still on Citi Breakfast Show. Now, the other thing that's caught my attention is this very interesting notice from the Office of the President. Suspension of the grant of contract appointments. And I'll deal with this later.
Yeah.
But it's a very terse statement. Dated 2nd April reads the grant of post-retirement contract appointments to retired public service staff has been suspended with immediate effect.
Yeah.
2. Consequently, all requests for such appointments will no longer be considered. 3. Kindly take note of this directive and ensure strict compliance. Now, we'll deal with that shortly. Some newspapers have been done editorials commending the government for doing this. Some people are asking the government to tread cautiously, including the TUC. But the trials and tribulations of an importer are not limited to the examples I give. There are quite a number of people who are not happy.
Nana Abuaji, for example, who is a freight forwarder, says, "Good morning, team.
Morning.
This is a national topic that needs to be discussed generally, and it's very important. It is not bad that the Tema Port has been the center of Ghana's revenue generation and mobilization for a long time, but expanding our tax operations gap is crucial to avoid constantly burdening the same people. When tax becomes prohibitive and extortionist, others devise strategic ways of smuggling." Cynthia says, "Good morning, Bernard. When you painfully pay all the taxes, your container will not come out until the roadside people within also find ways of frustrating you and take from you before you can come out of the port."
We'll deal with this shortly.
Philip from Ofanko, "Hi City, our leaders are here to comprehend the concept of multiple sources, lower rates versus fewer sources, higher rates. I buy from you, provide a name. When I add the freight to the cost of the car, I estimate that sum as my full port payment. I've never been wrong. Data is more accessible in 2025 than it was in 1960. So there is no reason why a good search would not give the GRA the exact price of the car bought. Our leaders do not comprehend these
I
things."
think they use this, this controversy they did about the valuation thing.
Yeah.
So you can buy a car which is $30,000 and then you've used it for 6 years in the UK and bring it down. They will still say it's 30,000, that's the base for calculating the tax. And it's just unfair. And they know that
unfair isn't the right word.
exploitative.
It's insanity. Like, how do you do that?
Because there's no other choice. You can't import the car.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that the word is unfair is not the right word.
Yeah, you want a stronger word.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but they are making as much money.
Yeah, texting in from North Carolina, 4 a.m. Jim Man says, good morning, Bernard and team. I shipped a 2-year-old Toyota Corolla to my old folks in Ghana, and I had to pay about 115,000 cedis. Oh no!
Yes.
115,000 cedis in duty.
Yes.
What?
It's true.
I was upset.
Yes.
Some few things like things like the manual of the vehicle, cover, and perfume were even stolen. I chose to ship because all attempts to buy from local vehicle assembling plants in Ghana did not materialize. None of them replied to my emails or calls.
Send them WhatsApp.
But doesn't have their number. And even the local manufacturers too, they complain about the cost of the input.
Yeah.
So they are unable to reduce the price of their locally assembled car because the input too will pay all these things.
Kofi says we put all these taxes on stuff from the US and complain about
10% right? Yeah, of course.
He's
right. It's a good point.
Said from last says, good morning, Bernard. Can you please give us the percentage cost of the total duty against the value of the vehicle you are importing?
I can do that easily. I have 2 examples.
Okay.
So give me 2 minutes.
Sure.
I'll do it for you.
While we are at it, Barrymore Paris says, good morning, Bernard. Please discuss interest rates on bank loans too. Interest rates are killing a lot of workers. So that will be all for now.
Okay.
All messages will come through. We share with you.
WhatsApp number 05499869996.
But who jobless? No one curse. Thank God we're past the worst.
So in this example, the vehicle is the tax base amount is 203,000. That's possibly the cost of the vehicle.
203,000.
I think that's the base they used to calculate the import VAT. Okay. All right, and then the total payment is 92,000 cedis for duties. So the car and everything else costs 203,000 in this example that was sent to me. So Kusu, 92,000 as a percentage of 203,000. What is that?
So 90 to us. So just
92,000 over 203.
That's 40, between 44 and 46%.
It's about 45.3. Yeah.
So look at that.
Yeah.
So effectively, let me. So effectively, that's what you are paying. Can you imagine? And this one was not even imported from the US. This one was sent to me from somebody from the Middle East. And the Middle East. Because the calculation of the tax. So the let me go to the tax items. So the import VAT was 17,449. The import VAT was 30,519, and then the ECOWAS levy was 872. Upfront payment of VAT and registered was 21,811. They added. At the end of the day, the person paid 92,007 for a 200 and something thousand. Charlie, it's crazy.
So I have a friend who is in the wildlife sector.
The what?
Wildlife.
Bro.
Wildlife. Wildlife. So nature and conservation. Wildlife. But they buy cameras and set up traps in the forest in order to monitor these wildlife. Yeah. And he says that I'm buying camera traps for research in protected areas to support WD efforts, that's wildlife efforts. He says the total cost of the cameras was $9,000 but he's having to pay over 89,000 cedis for duties alone.
Are you kidding me?
89,000 cedis for duties.
$9,000 multiplied 9 by 16.
That's like 138,000 Ghana cedis.
So it means the duties is close to
plus 89,000. That's a lot. Almost
Sometimes I don't
90,000.
understand how they calculate the.
That's a 62%.
Okay, now the GRA has a notice, and thank you for sending this to me. Evaluation on used vehicles. For tax purposes, the value of a vehicle is the home delivery value depreciated as below plus the freight and insurance. Where the age of a used motor vehicle does not exceed 6 months, the value shall be the first purchase price. Where the age exceeds 6 months but does not exceed 1.5 years, the depreciation value is 85% of the first purchase price. Where the age exceeds 1.5 years but does not exceed 2.5 years, the depreciated value is 70% of the first purchase price. Where the age exceeds 2.5 years but does not exceed 5 years, depreciation value is 60% of the first purchase price. And where the age exceeds 5 years, the depreciation value is 50% of the purchase price. Now, the first purchase price means the price at which the type of motor vehicle is usually sold for use when new by a dealer in such vehicle in the country of manufacture and vehicle concern. They put this there, they write there, when they finish they add integrity, fairness, then they add something, service. That's the one they added to slap you on top. So I think we've made the point copiously that the government has to balance between making Ghana more productive, making Ghana more competitive, and then making as much money for the government as possible through import duties and tariffs. So those are the points we made here. Let's read a few more comments before I move to my next issue for the day.
Okay, so Louisa in Adenta says, I imported a plantain slicer from India. The total cost plus shipment was around $1,000. Clearing alone was over 20,000 Ghana cedis. And I'm in the SME space.
Yeah, I was talking about
cost of
food
production,
processing.
Yeah.
So maybe the government says we want to do 24-hour economy, we want to boost export-led growth, import substitution. So somebody's brought in plantain slicer, which you'll be using to produce maybe plantain chips, which you'll be selling at back to your village food festival type of thing. Now, if the person is paying $1,000 for this thing, $1,000 is maybe times 15, so 15,000 cedis. Yet the duty is 20K. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But you see a lot of that, you know, and I'm sure they will always find a legal reason to explain why this is logical, to collect the money. But the truth is that when companies collapse, it will affect the amount of tax you collect in the first place, because if I'm not making money, this is the thing, there are many taxes. So there's income taxes. If people are not employed, there's no income tax to collect. Then there's consumption taxes. If the person doesn't have money to spend on anything, you can't get any tax on. So for example, if a person doesn't work, he can't buy a phone. If he can't buy a phone, you won't get the VAT on the phone. So the government loses 3 times. But so what is this? You are cutting your nose to spite your face. You are making as much money from the poor, thinking you are smart. So let me collect as much money from. If a company collapses today, let's assume this company, 200 people employed, 200 incomes gone, no income tax on that, no SNIT on that. All those people will be depending on relatives for money if they haven't had savings. So they are not going to spend on many things. So the government's overall tax revenue goes down. So the government needs to stimulate production and stimulate employment. That's the basis for taxation. You get it? But we have this crude mentality that because Ghanaians say they want roads and they want water, so you must tax the life out of everybody to provide that road. You get it? It's a very flawed economic mindset. And beyond that, there's also unofficial payments. So even if this 92K this person is paying on the 200K is even legitimate, they'll probably spend 110K because somebody will delay you, something is lost, you have to do this, and there's so much exploitation. You get it? So for me, the port is a major place the government should not allow to go.
You see, when you go to the port, you are supposed to use a freight forwarder or a clearing agent.
You have to pay him.
And they, understand the system better than you, the one of,
Exactly.
And you are paying money to them, not to the government.
So that's their service.
Yes, they will pay the government.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, the duty bearer is the government, because it is the cost of doing business that matters.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are talking about. That you talked about this thing that they go, look, the IRS back in the day used to get a lot of revenue from the timber industry in Kumasi
Mm.
and the Ashanti region, the Bunu region areas.
Mhm.
Today, they don't get that much
Mm.
because the industry itself has collapsed.
Wow.
You see, so this thing of and now they've moved to the betting companies. We fleece.
When you see something moving, they move there.
Yeah, we fleece till the thing dries up, then we move to another place. Instead of trying to uphold the businesses, engaging the businesses, teaching them, educating them, so that we can have more businesses in the space, because the more the better.
Meanwhile, you drive around Accra and you see lots of fantastic buildings. I was mentioning to you last week and you were telling me that a lot of this is not a real, because
money.
when you look at the skyline of Accra, you think, hey, Ghanaians are making money.
Yeah.
But that real estate boom is not real.
It cannot be accounted for in our books, no way.
And there's no proper way of even doing, property taxation. So the government will not do the hard work of taxing property that is high value. Because if somebody is going to give you a house in Cantonment for $2 million or whatever amount, if they were paying real property rates on that, that's a lot of revenue for the government. But they've never been able to figure it out.
They say it's difficult.
So it's easier to collect money from people who are importing cars to do Uber. But the person who has a 5-story building at Cantonment, it's difficult to collect money from.
Ghana.
It's a crime scene. It's a terrible situation.
The funniest thing on my IT WhatsApp group, one person said, "Is that Ghana? We are very funny people. We did Ghana card. Yeah, Ghana card. Very beautiful idea. It has your location, house address thing." And we said that when you finish applying for the thing, come back to the Ghana card office to come and collect it. When we could have tested the validity of your location by sending it.
You get it, and they will say, "Come and queue." In fact, and when you go, sometimes they put the thing in some box in some place.
That's
what happens. People have not come to collect their
Meanwhile,
thing.
you've created a GPS address.
It's like that you could test it.
That's exactly what happened to me. My Ghana card I did it. They said they don't have printing material, so I have to wait a bit. So I did it. No one updated me on whether it was done or not.
So you now have to go.
So eventually, when I went back, they said, "Oh, I didn't come back for it early." So they put it in some box in their
and
back.
they've taken it to some other place.
No, it was at the regional of the one at Golf House, the one around Golf. Is it Golf House?
Golf House,
The one there is that regional office or whatever.
That's the head office.
But that box in the back is behind something, so maybe they don't really want to collect it that day. So either I wait or I come tomorrow when they remove the box. I was thinking that. So I actually went home and I came back this was like Monday. I went back on Wednesday, and by that time they had removed the box and taken all the cards out. So it was very smooth.
But that's the point. How do you have a system that's run parallel but you don't use the system? So I don't think we are really blessed with our problems.
We do Ghana Post GPS. We make noise about them. Nobody is required to use it.
Including a state agency that is supposed to distribute legitimate Ghana cards.
And they put it on your house now, if you have the house,
the house numbers.
They'll put the
GPS,
the Ghana posting under it. It's right
there.
It's
a very serious situation.
Which house are you talking about?
No, when they put the wall, that.
No, they did some.
They did
some. They didn't finish.
Yeah, but I'm saying that when they come and put the thing on your house, it will have the Ghana post under it nowadays. So.
Right. Let's read more comments.
Hi, Bernard. This is Gordon in Tema. Good morning. I had an extremely bad experience when I went to clear a container a week ago. When it comes to doing business at the port, I would advise against going there completely. It is highly bothersome, porous, and frustrating. In the meantime, according to MPS follow-up, they have completed their projected proceedings and are now in possession of GPHA. However, additional investigation reviews backlogs in the port, so I just don't want to discuss them. However, I would like to know who made the backlogs. Bernard, to make money for the government, I believe the port should simply be privatized and turned over to MPS, you say. It's only in Ghana that one pays more import duty on a brand new car than a used one. Kofi is texting from Ashali Botre using the hashtag CityCBS. Bernard, good morning.
Morning.
One annoying levy for me is the 1% IRS levy.
Oh.
I thought IRS no more exists in Ghana. When you are claiming it in the quarter which it falls, GRA will be dragging their feet. Okay. Nana from Springtech says, hello CBS.
Hello.
This port tariff thing needs a serious review. I mean, how? Black says, good morning.
Morning.
What even baffles me is our intent on charging more on newer cars.
Charlie?
I imported a 2024 car and I had to pay almost 170,000 cedis. I'm guessing that's just duty alone. Divine Kutoche says, I don't think businesses are extremely concerned about duty. They are more concerned about the process in even making payments. The cost incurred on NTBs is even more than the duty
Non-tariff
itself.
barriers. Yes.
Non-tariff barriers.
So that's what Samen was saying, that sometimes the way they organize the place, it makes it impossible for you not to pay extra money, which is why you go and pay a clearing agent, because the clearing agents seem to know the area. And the other thing is that, you see, they create a bottleneck so that they can profit from it. So maybe I'm a retired customs officer, so I'll go and form a company with Susu and say, because people don't like coming to the port, I'll do and do the clearing for them, and I'll use my relationship with people in the company in the port to clear your goods for you. So they profit from the inefficiency, which is why people are concerned about this Goro boys being legalized thing. Because what happens is that you create a certain impossible situation for regular people to go there. Then you create businesses which then make it more expensive. So you're using the 203,000, I'm paying maybe another 5,000 to some clearing agent to simply do what I could have done myself.
But this is what we said about the Guru Boys and the King of that. Everyone comes and meets chaos.
Yes.
And instead of untangling the chaos, we regularize the chaos, because that's the only way we can think of it. And like you said, I think this thing applies to nearly every government agency in this country. Not to make it a wider point, but every time you have to deal with the government on some level, it's like there's some engineered chaos that
awaits you.
That awaits you.
And
for me, it's like, it's so unavoidable, and it's like you're thinking to yourself, this should not be this complicated.
But
and there are smarter people than me who are paid to manage these things who don't do it. So it's like, it's just so frustrating.
I just want to urge the new leadership of the port to take these things in good faith and to work to simplify the process at the port, to weed out corruption, and to make it a more friendly clearing process. That would help them raise more revenue. If more people are willing to bring things in, it's going to make you get more money. So you get your money on volume and not value. All right. So don't say, let me charge the hell out of this guy 60% of the value of his product. Let him bring minimal products so that I can get the same amount. I think in Ghana we are more value driven than volume driven. So even if the only 10 people who come, we'll tax them so high and make as much money as we can.
I want to be fair to the policy makers when it comes to some of these import things. Because countries do this with the idea that to encourage manufacturing, local production. In principle, it would be great, but we don't have any local manufacturing. So you are killing consumers when you do this. It's different if, let's say, and even the industries we have,
they import their parts.
We don't, not even about the parts. There are some things that we can grow here. We are not encouraging rice production and making it difficult to import rice. Those are the things we should be doing. We should focus on the things we can do and make, because to say that you are making it difficult to import cars, where are we going to get the cars from? I know that, okay, some people are assembling cars here, but
not enough.
But you see, even then, brand new cars, the cost of a brand new car,
exactly,
a lot is out of reach for a lot of Ghanaians. So let's be honest with ourselves with some of these things. I think if our industrial policy, our domestic policy was encouraging manufacturing and things, was encouraging people to make machines, was encouraging some of these things, I think it would be fair
to then impose
do some of these things. But it's like we are doing it as if we are some highly industrialized country.
We are not industrialized too. We don't produce anything.
And that's what kills me. You are making it difficult to import machines,
because
import cars.
But see, this is the logic, and I think it's a perverse logic, because you see, when people depend on something, you can tax it more. Do you understand? So the idea is that Ghanaians, they like their cars, they like second-hand cars, they'll import cars anyway. So let's make as much money from them as possible, because they will still buy the cars.
See, even better, the idea that Ghanaians like cars it's not that Ghanaians like cars. You need a car.
There's no other way of moving.
There's no other way of moving.
Public transport doesn't work.
We don't have public transport. So it's not like people are buying cars for buying cars' sake. And if there was a study showing that most of the cars in Ghana, I think it's about 80 to 70% of cars in Ghana are being used for work. They are being used for business. So it's not like people are driving cars.
It's mostly Uber and Bolt and stuff.
Uber, Bolt, And when I say cars, I mean vehicles in general. So you can think of tractors, articulators, whatever you want, trotros. Most people's cars are not for personal use. I think I saw something like, maybe the figures are different now, but what I read was it's about 10-15% are for personal use. That's a very low number when you think about it. For you people, for them to have such high import duties, because if you are telling me that 10% to 15% of people have their car that they are driving themselves, which means most cars are shared spaces, more or less, are used to make money. You are basically making it difficult for people to make money. So I think that the whole thing, we need to think about what we make difficult to import, because I don't think you should have that I think Trump has a point in a way with his tariffs and that kind of, don't get me wrong, there's a way to do it, but we are just doing it in the most unsensible way.
I tell you. We'll wrap up with a few comments.
Bernard, someone has sent me, this is remember we talked about the cost of food also, food inflation, and we identified that the cost of transporting the food items is what is actually leading to the increase in the cost of the food produce. And a lot of the times people need vans and vehicles, as we are saying, to cart these vehicles from the rural areas to this place. Now, this person is into the agribusiness on a very large scale. He sent me a photo of a very small truck that he's importing, and the duty is 102,470 Ghana cedis, 0.83.
Nowhere cool.
Yeah. So I mean, if you
truck,
it's a mini truck. It's like Abuso Kaima Joseph,
and he's paying
100,000 cedis plus. So this conversation is at the heart of a lot of things now. Alvino from Akosombo said, Ben, cars are even cheaper in Liberia than Ghana because you won't pay all these funny taxes. Good morning, Bernard. We came home yesterday to meet notices on some houses from the Ghana East Municipal Assembly to pay some property rates by the 14th. Is this right? And what is the basis for their calculation? Okay. Hi, Bernard. Property rate is not working because most of these high-rise buildings are owned by politicians and all their cronies. Gary from Lakeside send that through. Isaac from Accra says, good morning, friends. Sometimes you buy a truck or van for work and government will charge you upfront VAT on it. Sometimes you will have to pay some customs officers to have it removed for you. I understand the upfront VAT means government is charging you for future sale of the car. Okay, we are suffering on you. But I like the way you and your team discuss this passionately salient matters in this country. How can someone import a car into the country for a ride-hailing business and the person has to pay thrice the price he imported it for? It doesn't make any sense at all. Daniel Autry from Ga East Hospital sent that.
Nowhere cool. Now, somebody sent me this last week and I promised to look into it and I forgot. It says, Bernard, as part of the Ghana month, this was a Heritage Month time, it says, do you intend to have a look at rent in the capital city? Because rents are skyrocketing and there's no regulation on rent. Landlords quote any price at all they want and the nature of the buildings do not match the prices they call. How can a chamber and hall go for 1,500 cedis? 2-bedroom for 2,000, and this is a month, and 2,500 cedis, and some are not even tiled. I wonder how a national service personnel posted to Accra will survive on a rent of 500 to 700. How much is this for your allowance? Young people in this country are going through hell. No wonder they are running out of the country at the least opportunity. I was somewhere in Accra, and somebody was telling me that they were looking for a place, chamber and hall around the Spintex, and they were told it's between 1,002 and 1,005 for a month.
Then that's good.
Was it cedis?
Spintex on
Cedis,
site.
yeah.
Cedis.
Oh, then they got it nice.
Was it cedis?
A month. Well, it's too high.
It's low.
It's amazing.
No, I'm not saying that it's too low. I've been looking
for the market.
But this
for the market right now.
This is somebody who's been working for like just 3-4 years.
No, they didn't build their house thinking about you.
Chamber and hall.
They don't care. I'm saying that Spintex, proper Spintex, you got a chamber and a whole proper house with everything
No,
else for 1,200.
Yes, 2,005.
Then I need to find a person.
Because you need that place.
Yes.
But this is my question. How do is this a private sector issue? See, how do people make it with rent?
People price to solve their own problems. They price to solve their own problems, including the cost of putting up the building, plus the cost of their frustrations, plus the cost of their inefficiencies, everything.
And they put all
together.
The rent.
And worst thing is that they say that you either take it or leave it.
So you don't have, because it's not by force.
And there's another phenomenon that we always overlook. They take the money from you for 2 years.
And then they'll give you in the middle of the thing.
And then in the middle of the thing, they come and tell you that the next round of payment, we've increased it by 100%.
Yeah.
If you can't pay, somebody else is coming to take it.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's what is happening.
Yeah.
So they will even say, we'll give you your money to go.
If you can't pay, someone will be into they won't mean to out there. And then when you try to haggle, then they say that unim me backre fabrice bantu de kowati.
That's what they do all the time.
That's what is happening.
How can this be regulated?
I don't know.
Don't we have a rent control board or something we're supposed to handle these
They
things?
themselves were kicked out of their office some time ago. The rent control board themselves, I think they hadn't paid their rent.
No, but as far as I know, they're the ones who should be handling these things.
But you see, the rent control, I don't think that they can legislate how much somebody should charge.
But sometimes they dispute. The scenario you
I
give,
think
the rent control can
objective
support.
is to have a fair practice.
So what you said, the example you gave, rent control can intervene.
I'm pretty sure they should
you
be the one.
pay somebody for 2 years, and then they come in the middle of it and say, I've changed your rent.
No. What I'm saying is that it's not like halfway through they have changed the rent.
Okay.
I'm saying that halfway through they will announce that at the end of the 2 year
2
period,
years, somebody else is coming.
So you either pay 100% more
or get ready to leave.
Yes.
I get you.
Yeah, that one, I'm talking about they will sack you for no reason. That was
some people they sack, but of course, if they sack you for no reason,
you can take
rent control
Yeah,
can delay, or even a court can delay.
But this is the thing. Generally, I assume that when you rent a place for 2 years, the person in should have a first right of refusal for an extension. But that's what he's saying, that then they'll come in and say, no, we've raised for the next round, so go. If you are not able to increase, and you can't increase something by 100% with 6 months notice and expect somebody to raise the money to pay.
They do that.
It's an unfair business practice.
That one.
And rent control should be able to intervene to say, it's not fair. Even though it's your own house.
Rent control is getting a lot of love.
And even as far as I know, the law says you're not even now allowed to charge more than 6 months advance. But nobody wants to hear.
It's never existed.
But that's what I'm saying. Nobody wants to hear.
And I'm told that it's a very Ghanaian thing, because in other West African countries, sometimes you can pay
1
months.
month. 1 month.
In
2
Ghana,
months,
you
3
have
months.
to pay 2 years.
Yeah.
It's I don't know.
And what's the guarantee I want to live somewhere for 2 years?
Well, because the demand outstrips the supply, the 2 years secures you.
Yeah.
So you see, this is the problem. If you don't pay for 2 years, then you can be sacked arbitrarily too.
No, that one is, you see, the problem is our housing supply is not good. And what kills me is that all the time you see people building, it's always these luxury apartments. For who?
That's the point he's making, that you see, this is our real estate sector is a false reflection of our real economy. I think there's a lot of money laundering ending up, and I'm saying this without necessarily hardcore proof. But
I agree with you. I
I'm
believe
using
it. I support you.
Economic numbers just on the over the table calculation, because the amount of houses that are not habited in Accra, people say $3,000 per month, and for 2 years nobody's in it. They are not worried,
and the bank is not going after them.
You understand? He built something 5-star thing, and he's renting at such a fantastic price. If nobody goes, it's not concerned, because it's a store of his value. It's not necessarily because an investment that he needs somebody to put the rent in. Okay, so our real estate sector is not a real reflection of the real economy, and it's a very problematic issue which we need to deal with as a society. Now I'm sure we're getting rent comments now.
Yes. Loads of them. Someone says those rent control officials are also tenants in other people's homes. Okay, Papa King, confirming what we already know. Sami says one other institution that is a waste of everyone's time in Ghana is the rent control.
Why?
When they dress up to go to the office, what do they do exactly? He's asking. Rent control. My landlord, Bernard, this one will intrigue you. My landlord called me from the UK and referred to Donald Trump's tariff increase as a reason for increase. Can you imagine?
This one is totally.
Landlord, how about you say?
Donald Trump.
Donatus. But the whole thing is that we don't have any proper policy governing all these.
You know, we do.
Some
is the problem in Ghana. There are two issues in my view. We over-regulate in spaces that we shouldn't regulate, and then we are too liberal in spaces we should regulate.
Thank you.
So places like the port and things, we are punitive. We make it difficult for businesses to survive. So you pay so much. Look at our telecom sector. Look at our radio sector. The number of things you have to pay, the way they are regulated, it's very, very tough to do business. Tax regulation and then the other regulators. Meanwhile, consumer regulation, where you are supposed to say, okay, how fair is this price? That one is completely non-existent. In fact, when they even find the telco, they don't give the money to you. They take it and use it to do their own NCA business. So the question is, there's the human being and the citizen is not at the center of government policy thinking. So the government regulates for its own good. Let's raise government revenue through the port. So we'll charge you 40% tax at the port. But you, the company too, so it's over-regulation of companies and then poor protection of consumers. You get it? So there's no consumer. In fact, my friend Apia Adomako, he's pushing his consumer protection law because he realizes that in Ghana, consumer has no power. You get it? The regulator is not interested in protecting the consumer. He's interested in making as much money for government so he can use it to pay his own people their own bonuses. So the public sector does not facilitate the private sector. It exploits and it's like a leech. All right? It takes too much money from him running his company and doesn't protect you from whatever you do. So your landlord is kicking you, your employer is kicking you, your person you are buying food from is kicking you. The government doesn't protect you. The government is only protecting its own interests. And it's a very terrible situation because at the end of the day, why are you in government? Why are you in authority? Why are you in the public service? You are there to make things better for us so we can pay you. But you go and make things better for yourself and you leave us to die. You don't protect any consumer. Somebody goes to buy something, no consumer protection. It's taken this group cuts almost a decade to push consumer protection law. Can you imagine? They did it live on Channel 1 TV like 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah. It took them many months years to get that thing done. It's very, very bad.
I want to add something just about consumer protection. People don't like refunds and returns in Ghana. It's very difficult. If you buy something, you have your receipt, you want to return it for whatever reason. It becomes a fiasco. And it's part of what you are saying. And I feel like it's the most basic thing.
But it's because people are dishonest. They take it back and it's defective and they don't disclose it. That's how come we are where we are. Not to justify it.
Yes.
You understand? You buy something.
Yes.
And then you return it 2 days after, okay? And something went wrong. You don't disclose it. You drop it. At whose cost?
But so yesterday I went to buy a shoe for my son at a shop. You know the place. It's a foreign-owned thing. The guy said to me, if you go and it doesn't fit, bring it back. And when I went, it fit. I didn't take it back. So at least he had the reason, and I got a stamp and everything. And I said, I can't bring the boy to come and measure the shoe. He said, no, you go. If it doesn't fit, bring it back. We'll take it. Okay, so I think that sometimes people have to be reasonable too. There's no reason why you can say, because unless you're saying every shoe I buy, I have to bring everybody to the shop to come and buy the shoe. You get it? So there should be, both of us to be more reasonable. You are right, people are not honest. But companies too, they treat people with so much disrespect. They can't do what they do here in another country. I bought a laptop in the UK. It wasn't working well. I called them. The guy brought it from Amazon. The guy came to pick it back in 2 days. And they refunded my money because I was going to buy it again. I hadn't used it. I basically put it on and I noticed it was a defective thing. They got it back. And the dishonest people in the UK too.
There are not plenty.
No, you have a point, but I mean, people, it's a balancing act.
I know.
It's
I
a
know.
balancing act.
I know.
It's a balancing act. Keep going. I want to get the consumer protection law and read some portions for us.
There are lots of comments on the rent issue, Bernard. And Kwesi from Kumasi says, how much does a recent graduate earn? A chamber and hall self-contained is going for a minimum of 1,000 cedis in Kumasi. Bernard, I've been searching for a chamber and hall self-contained since August last year with a budget of 600 cedis. And Ben and team, I may have to settle for a single room. My only issue is I was born in Ghana. Okay. I know generally renting Kumasi is cheaper than Accra.
Why?
Oh yeah.
Why won't somebody get a visa lottery and run away?
Yeah, but if you run away, rent in the UK is
crazy. And now you're in some fear building view.
Rent everywhere, but we just want fairness. You understand?
It's crazy.
Terrible. You know, keep going.
Yeah, let me bring you some more. So from Kwesi, I come to, you didn't add your name. As for the rent matter, the least said the better. The yearly increment for shops is detrimental to business sustainability. Business owners are suffering to keep up with the high cost of running their businesses. So this has to do with renting spaces for businesses as well. Good morning, Bernard. We are having an issue like that with my rent. The rent was increased from 500 cedis to 2,000 cedis by the landlord and his family, 300%. And when we asked for reduction, they said no. And they came back asking for 1,200 for 6 months, and that we should leave the property. Nana Kojo from Accra. Good morning, Bernard and team. I am a national service personnel in Teshi. The issue of rent is something that deserves national attention. The sector is so unregulated. House owners, property owners charge what makes them happy, and agents make it even worse by adding theirs. This made me come up with an idea to develop a mobile app that would feature all types of houses and rooms for rent. That way, agents will be out of the equation, and even better, we are able to see how much property owners are charging for their properties. All the best on that, my friend. But if you want to talk about rent, you would want to spend the entire show today talking about rent. My wife, my baby son, and I were ejected because I didn't want to do business with the landlord. He told me his relatives were coming from abroad. This was my early days of
you are in that meeting.
It's the same line, no? It's the same line.
Check the next one. Please, a proper chamber and hall in Spintex is 2,000 cedis to 2,500. This is Kwame from Spintex.
That's why I'm looking for
which part
the one
of
who is
Spintex?
giving it for 1,200.
And because it's even CD denominated or CD
rated. No, Spintex now is big, so
maybe the Spintex part I went to. Let me speak to Apia Adumaku Kusi. So they did some really good work a few weeks ago when they launched the State of the Ghanaian Consumer Rights 2025 report. And the premise of that was that consumer rights and protection lie at the heart of a fair and thriving marketplace. Right? So consumer rights and protection lie at the heart of a fair and thriving marketplace, whatever kind of market it is, serving as a vital pillar for socio-economic development. And then basically the dimensions of consumer protection will definitely include things like protecting the rights of the buyer, reliable services, mechanism for redress, and those types of things. So let me find out from him what the summary of the state of the Ghanaian consumer is, and I'll work my way into the rent issue, and then also the issue of over-regulation of companies and under-regulation for the consumer rights. Apia, thanks for joining us. He's the CEO of CAT International Ghana. Thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernard, and your listeners of Citi FM.
So I think 2.5 weeks ago, you launched the State of the Ghanaian Consumer Report 2025. What document was that, and what did it address? What were the key findings?
So what we did was we selected 8 sectors: banking, telecom, water, electricity, road safety, aviation, e-commerce, and sanitation. And for each of the sectors, we realized the illiteracy of Ghanaian consumers with regards to their rights as enshrined in some of these sectorial regulations. And it was so, and then let me say that the literacy of consumer rights and also the redress mechanism, it made no difference between the educational level. For example, a senior SHS leaver and university graduate, their level of their ignorance of their rights was almost at the same level. And this is very, very, especially in the telecom sector, most people, whenever they have a problem, they first want to talk to the telecom service operator. And once it's not resolved, majority of them will end there. They don't know that NCA will be the final arbiter of the telecom issues. When it comes to water and electricity, people would want to take their complaints to ECG. And if ECG is not able to resolve their complaints, it ends there. And it was very, very great also with regards to water as well. But largely, consumer awareness and their rights in this country is very, very low in the here in Ghana. And I think that one of the key dimensions of consumer protection is also consumer education. And that means that regulators need to spend a lot of resources to be able to educate consumers. And one thing that we've also seen in this country is that we've also seen a lot of the rise of the chambers, chamber of petroleum importers, chamber of cement manufacturers, chamber. And all of the chambers are kind of ganging against the consumer. And instead of the government as the government to also bring efficient laws and regulations to protect consumers, for many years we've not done much with regards to having one fixed consumer protection law that will be able to give consumers the redress mechanism.
Where are we with the consumer protection law, by the way?
So it is still at the Ministry of Trade. Last 2 years, it went briefly to Parliament, but it's kind of rejected because of some few issues. About a week or two ago, I met with the minister, and the minister is very keen in terms of taking it to Parliament. And let me also say that it was also captured in the 2024 manifestos of NDC and also the 2025 budget. We saw it being captured. So I think that there is an appetite from the Ministry of Trade and government, for that matter, to ensure that the consumer protection law goes to Parliament. But if we do not also push further, we've had this appetite in many years. Whenever a new government comes, far back in 2017, we saw a similar appetite. And so for CAT and other CSOs, we are working very hard with the ministry to make sure that all the patches that needs to be done on the work are done so that it can go to Parliament.
Now, when I see your consumer rights report, the sectors did not include housing and rent or real estate. And I thought that was very interesting because this morning, I've had two groups of issues. We've been talking about the ports and the frankly unfair practices at the ports. Okay. And then we're also talking about landlords and how they treat tenants and basically the rent market. Any reason why those two were not considered in your report?
Okay. So we intend to do one for next year, and rent and housing is the number one sector that we are taking, as well as the healthcare and additional sector. And let me say that, Bernard, we started to do this study far back in 2014, and we never got funding from any donor, any local business, any support. So CAT has to use our old IGF to do this study. And it appears that businesses in Ghana are not interested in consumer protection, and neither do we have international development agencies also interested in consumer protection. That is why I would say that the consumer protection law has stalled. And so CAT would welcome support from well-meaning Ghanaians, if you permit me to use your platform, that next year I want to do about 8 sectors, which include housing, healthcare. Again, we want to do the banking, road safety, as well as sanitation. So we will be happy to see if we can get support so that we can also expand the sample size. This work that we did, we had about 2,000 sample size across 8 regions. If we get enough support, we'll be able to get a robust sample size for the next study.
Fair enough. Now let's discuss the issue of consumer protection from a different angle. Regulation. In my view, whilst Ghanaian regulators seem very punitive at the top level, so that they regulate companies with a heavy hand, I don't think their regulation really caters for consumer protection. And I'll give you an example. So, for example, if I'm fairly treated by my telco, generally, if NCA comes in, they'll probably sue or fine the telco, but the money doesn't get to me. They use the money for whatever they want, right? So it seems to me as though in Ghana we overregulate on one hand, but we underprotect the consumer on another hand. I'm not sure whether this is backed by any research, but that's my personal view. What do you think?
Yes, that is very, very true. And for most regulatory agencies board, it's only PRC that we have a consumer rep there. So where the decisions are taken, you only have industry players and politicians there, and the issues of consumers are not necessarily much of a concern. I remember back in 2014, the U.S. government fined Bank of America as part of their role in the mortgage crisis that led to the financial crisis in 2008. Now, what the Fed said that look, they fined DOJ about Bank of America about $40 billion. What the Fed said that look, they're going to give the money to support people who are struggling through their mortgage payment as a result of the financial crisis. So I think that regulators, whenever they find service providers, they should be able to use the money to support consumers who have made a valid claim. Unfortunately, it's not what we are facing in this country. I think the regulators are more interested in punishment and fine as a means of what income generation, and some of the money also go into the public purse. And I think that is also very wrong, because when regulators see fine as a source of income generation for them, they will be like trigger happy. Always, let me just pull this trigger and get money, and they will use the money to as part of our IGF. I think that is wrong. And largely, as you said, some are over regulation, others are under regulation, and the best practice has been an optimal regulation, a regulation that fosters innovation, and also a regulation that enhances industry participation in the regulatory framework. In most industries, we have self-industry-led regulation. When you go to the US, some industries are being led by the self-regulation, and you see those things. So the industries agree to the standard, and they all work towards that. And then the regulator stays far away and to see that whether the industries are meeting up to the standard that they have agreed. By here, regulations are prepared sometimes without the participation of the consumer and even those to be regulated.
All right. Final question. When you did your State of the Ghanaian Consumer Rights 2025, which sector has the best response or model that we can learn from?
I think the banking sector, a lot of consumers talk about their satisfaction with the banking services when they go to the banking hall, the time that they spend. But the key comment that came from the financial sector was that when they take loans, the term sheet that they give to them is so huge that they are unable to understand, and sometimes they are rushed through in taking the loan. And also, they also complain about most banks when you get a deduction on your account, the banks are not able to provide a very good narration as to what the purpose of that deduction. And the telecom sector, of course, is also received some I wouldn't say I'll give them C plus. There's a lot, and that was the sector that we had more respondents because everybody in this country uses a mobile phone, and so there were lots of complaints in the telecom sector, and a sector that I hope that the FCA will be able to sit down with the regulators and work with on the findings that came. And let me say that, Bernard, when we did this report, we gave the report to the regulators for the regulators to go through and also give their comments. And their comments were also captured as part of the report. And in about 4 weeks' time, we will be releasing the final report to the public. And we also want to be sharing a copy of each parliamentarian as part of the consumer protection advocacy that we are doing for the consumer protection law.
Really, really great job, Apia Kusi Adomako, Director for CATS International West Africa, who did some great work on the state of the Ghanaian consumer rights, looking at water, electricity, telecom, e-commerce, banking, road safety, waste management, and aviation. Unfortunately, they didn't do for the housing sector, neither did they do for the port services, but at least we've had 6 or 7 sectors. We'll read a few more of your comments on the rent situation and also on the port situation before we come back and ask, is the government right in saying no post-retirement contracts in the future? If you hit 60, bye-bye. We'll discuss that for the last 30 minutes. But Caleb, let's take a few quick comments.
Jacob is an Uber driver. He says, good morning, Bernard. Talking about consumer protection, if you go to Makola or Kaishi or Rollins Park, the people selling are not taking 20 pesos and 10 pesos. People are fighting there every day, you say. Bernard, this is Ben from East Legon. Rent is killing us in Accra. I live at Medina Estate and my rent is 600 Ghana cedis for a single room self-contained. Just after 1 year, my landlord incredibly increased my rent to 800 Ghana cedis, telling me if I'm paying in 6 months, he is taking 1,000 cedis every month. As a normal Ghanaian airport worker, I had to consider the 6 months. So from 600 to 1,000 cedis a month by 6 months. Wow. Down, so please, I am a landlord. The government must be able to ensure that the law deals drastically with defaulters.
Beyond a week to enable us to charge monthly, quarterly, or yearly.
Yes, it must be such that as I walk to rent control with evidence of agreement and default beyond the payment date, they are able to come and eject the tenant within 3 days.
I would suggest that if you had like a monthly arrangement, then there could be some direct debit or something. So if somebody is employed and they have a contract with a company and maybe you know that they are paid this amount, if they've dedicated a percentage of their salary to rent, there should be some. It should be possible for the payment to be at source if you want to secure yourself. That's if the government wants to stop this 2-year advance thing. It should be done where there's the possibility of paid whatever. You answer my question.
You see, this 2-year advance business, it's so inconveniencing and very hard to take. You know, it doesn't make economic sense for the consumer. But maybe let's also open the conversation up a bit and look at our inflation rate and how the real value of money dissipates over a short period of time as compared to other countries in the sub-region, for instance. Okay, you don't have 2 years advance in Cote d'Ivoire. You don't have it. And some of these you don't have because their currency is largely stable. Inflation is way better than we have. Okay, so if I agree on say 200 cedis a month for the next 3 years, and if inflation is taking my money away, what do I do?
But if I pay the amount upfront, it's still the same amount you get.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's if you agree to. I'm saying that we should open a discussion because it's a 50-50 thing. The inflation thing is one of the things that affects the rent. I mean, that's for the owner of the property. You understand? I'm not talking about advance payment. I'm talking about the rate.
I was asking how the advance payment deals with the inflation. It doesn't.
No, they take the advance payment ahead to arrest the effect of inflation.
Which is what I'm saying, that if I'm paying you 200 cedis a month for a year, that's 2,400.
Yes. ahead of time,
yes,
you have arrested the inflation.
In what way? Because you have the money earlier.
So you can the present value of the money is with you. But if you are spreading it 200 every month, 200 by month 6, the value of 200 in month 6 may not be the same value.
I get your point.
Yeah.
So they are trying to cushion against inflation.
That's
by taking the money up front. I get
because the external factors squeeze them out of business, especially
but what
in real
if
estate.
The counterfactual is that the value of that room in a year's time may also deteriorate. But I'm paying you upfront for it because, for example, when I come to the house is in a certain condition.
Yeah.
In 2 years' time, the house
the argument will then also be that
no, it is a fact that it will deteriorate, but it still has a value that is open to the mechanics of the free market. So even in its deteriorated state, somebody may be willing to pay more. This is the reality.
Yeah, but the other thing is that the reason why the inflation will go high, part of it is also because you are collecting my money early quickly.
That's the point I'm making by the vicious cycle.
Yeah, so it's a cycle. So whilst you are trying to hedge against inflation, inevitably you're also leading to more inflation because now you are receiving more money initially for work you haven't done.
But who goes to war at his own expense?
So
I built it with my own money. So I have to recoup my money first.
But you work in a country that has laws. So the law must be applied in a way that will not disadvantage either of us.
Yes, but the law must be enforced, and supervised. You understand? But government anywhere is not going to tell you how much you should charge people for rent.
Yeah, but you set the rules around what is fair in practice and what is not.
That's correct. But if you, for instance, if you can prove that it costs you more to put up the facility, government cannot stop you. Because look, sanitary materials or tiles, you decided to use a more expensive type. So because of that, this is it. No government is going to force you.
Which is why governments sometimes try to say, let them now do their own affordable housing, which then eventually also doesn't get to
in a third world country, you can't do anything called affordable housing.
That's
what is affordable housing?
So if you're a government listening to this discussion today, will you spend more energy saying, let me make it easier for people to build their own house so that the demand for rent will come lower? Because it's an economic situation he's describing. Because demand outstrips supply, it's a supplier's market. So the supplier can tell you, give me the 2 years and I'll sack you. If you see that what makes this difficult is that to get land to build is expensive because of the multiple sale of lands. Building materials are expensive. So the person who takes the risk to build wants to protect himself. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's back to an economic condition issue. Make it easy for people to get land at Kasua to build. Let building materials be cheaper to have their own places to live. Encourage building of high rises so that there will be more people who can live on the same type of land. When you do all that, eventually, if he's renting a house in Adenta, he will not have that much advantage over you to be telling you what to do.
Bernard, the economic activity that will attract me to come to live in Accra, we should be minded to spread it to other spaces in Suhum.
So that people will not come and pack themselves
so
in
that
Accra and be struggling.
Everybody wakes up, it has to be Accra, it has to be Kumasi.
Exactly.
That economic is how we spread the economic activity to make other locations attractive.
To reduce the pressure.
The you know, look, that's the only way we can do this thing. Because look, if everybody wakes up and the next thing is Accra, how many affordable houses can we accommodate in Accra? And who told you that they can afford it anyway?
It's driving prices up to the crazy level. So the urban clutter. So I get that's a nice point. The urban clutter is another issue.
Very much so.
Okay, so the question is, if you live in Koforidua, how is rent? It's probably better.
I mean,
I'm
Koforidua
sure
has started, of course, relatively, but they have also started feeling the problem in Accra. You understand? But Koforidua is a regional capital.
When you go to who, we did a report, who claimed that because of the many tertiary institutions and students not having campus accommodation, landlords were cashing in and raising the rent because a lot of students needed places. And it affected even non-students too.
That's all right. So why aren't we building the tertiary institution in another town in the Volta region?
But when you build it, you have to also add accommodation because raises the rent.
But it spreads it. That's the point I'm making. It's, you see,
so somebody
shifting the economic activity will lessen.
Yes, you are right.
That's all I'm saying.
That's very important point. That's very important. The Accra Kumasi situation is urban clutter.
Yes.
And that comes with this jungle mentality that will take
What
as much as
used
we
to
can.
be peri-urban communities have all been taken. Now, look, now if you are driving from here to Dodowa,
You don't
just
go, you
shut
don't see
your
any
eyes.
bush. You don't see any bush.
Just shut your eyes. The
If
next
Dodowa
you are there.
in Sawam. Me those days.
Oh, it's on there. It went long ago.
Sometimes in 90 something. The first time I went to Kumasi in the early 90s to visit my brother. When I got to Sawam, we still drove through a lot of bush before we got to Achimota. Now between Suhum in Sawam and Accra is the same. Yeah. You know, people live all through
everywhere else.
It's
man.
serious.
Everywhere
So
else.
the point around the economic growth poles, and I even think there should be like the way we do regional promotion of people to come and live here.
Yes.
Regional ministers must be given this assignment of saying, let me promote businesses. So I can say I'm a Volta regional minister. I can go and pitch to ABL and say, Charlie, come and set up a factory in Ho. We have land for you. When you set up that factory there, you employ people who live around the area. Then you are going to bring businesses into the area.
If Friday, if you give me time,
you will discuss.
we'll go through this thing.
Yeah. It's a regional.
And how I believe every region should be positioned
Yes.
to attract its own businesses.
Yes, because once the region can attract the business, it employs people who live there. If I go to Hopoli, I won't come and live in Accra.
What business do you have been doing in Accra?
Because the problem is that Accra has everything. And that's the issue.
And everywhere else has nothing.
That's the point. Kumasi and Accra.
Kumasi has a lot.
Kumasi has a lot.
What I mean is that even Kumasi compared to Accra, there's a gap.
We were on Heritage Caravan, and I visited. We went when we got to Bolgatanga, the hotel we slept in.
Yeah.
I told myself that how I wish I had a house here.
The place was cool, eh?
Charlie, so serene.
No problem, no traffic.
And
you have life expectancy.
Obey traffic lights.
You mean you can drive to work and come back and not insult anybody on the road?
And people will not go high.
You know, this is real life. And you are going back to Accra where everybody, when they see red light, and that's when they have to speed.
But you see why they live longer in the rural areas. It's serious. So because if you live in a place like that,
I have to say, driving there, I can feel the stress in my body when I'm in
you
the
drive
car.
in Accra, yes.
Yeah, I can feel the stress in my body.
You can feel it. So it's a lot. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we'll ask, is it a good policy? The government says if you are above 60, we won't extend your employment. Go home. It's going to be very interesting. The news center has an editorial on this. We'll read it and give you some quick insights. Stay with us.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Unbelievable is yours to own with DSTV. Get unbelievable local entertainment with Shakai Lemba, Nigerian Idol, and Big Brother Niger.
Unforgettable night.
Catch unbelievable sporting moments from the Premier League, La Liga, F1, and more.
Absolutely sensational.
Laugh along with unbelievable kids' edutainment like Paw Patrol. And experience unbelievable international shows like Law and Order and Lioness Special Ops.
Let's go!
Download the My DSTV app today and own the unbelievable.
Hi, Mom, it's me, Kwame.
Hey, Kwame. How are you?
Mom, I'm fine, oh.
Okay.
You know something?
No, tell me.
I'm looking for a complete furniture set for my new place.
Kwame, I've told you before, the only one place you should go, eh?
Yeah, Mom, but I need a mattress to fit my bed.
Ash Foam.
I need a bed to fit my room.
Ash Foam.
What about a sofa where it go relax my body?
Ash Foam.
Wardrobes to fit all my clothes?
Ash Foam.
What about linens and pillows for sweet dreams?
Kwame. Ash Foam.
Mommy, I feel you. Ash Foam all the way.
From mattresses to beds, sofas, wardrobes, linens, pillows, and more. Don't waste time and visit any Ash Foam showroom across the country or call our hotline at 0243 200 729. Ash Foam. Feel it, know it.
Charlie, where are you?
Boss man, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Walwale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Masa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
The Aqua Healing and Deliverance Crusade is here.
Go!
takes his people and put them in charge.
Ministry, Dr. Pastor Paul and Becky Eninche, all the way from Glory Dome in Abuja, Nigeria. The Dominion, date 10th and 11th of April 2025. Venue, LWAC Sports Stadium. Song ministration, Emoji, Ankalato, Kofi Boham, Prophet Okebe, Prosper Otimana, and Minister Mark Frank. Also happening live is the Workforce and Ministers Conference, happening at the Accra International Conference Center at 9 a.m. on the 11th of April. Free shuttles to the venue will be available. For more information, call 0257 765 546. The Accra Healing and Deliverance Crusade. Be there.
Hey, so what goes into building quality structures? I mean, literally, what goes into it? Wujaf, you don't want to be sitting here somewhere worrying whether or not you did a really good job. It'd be a very simple equation. If there's no diamond cement in the mix, massa, forget it. Don't start cry. Menye, diamond cement has been providing builders, block makers, and construction companies that peace of mind for years. Diamond cement is 42.5 R grade cement, unbeatable quality made right here in Ghana. And because we have your pocket in mind, we provide 32.5 R grade so that everybody getting on. No long talk, Jack. If there's no diamond cement in the mix, don't start. Locate Diamond Cement Ghana Limited nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrade, and Buipe, or call 0244-313-368 or 0540-111-978 or 0202-021-175. Diamond Cement, still as hard as a diamond.
Are you ready to transform the way your organization handles audits? Introducing Arbitas Data Analytics and Audit Vision AI, your ultimate solutions for smarter, faster, and more efficient audit processes. Arbitas dives deep into your data for insights and automates your analytic processes, while Audit Vision AI is an advanced AI-powered assurance audit and risk management solution tailored for audit, internal control, compliance, and risk management. For more details on Audit Vision AI and Habitus Analytics, call 0247681899 or send us an email at info@isevolutionsconsult.com. IS Evolutions Consult, your trusted audit solutions partner.
This is the City Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
The power of relevant radio. This is Citi 97.3.
Coming in from the cold. If you're looking for an easy way to manage your business finances, Built Financial Technologies is the trusted platform for businesses across Africa, effortlessly handling invoicing, payments, and payroll with secure advanced encryption. Save time, reduce cost, and enjoy live support with local integrations. Visit www.built.africa or download our app or call 0308 040 007. That's 0308 040 Built, do more with less stress. Are you looking to make your Easter unforgettable? Escape to luxury with African Regents Easter Escape packages. Available from the April 18th all through to 21st. Enjoy delicious food and kids-friendly corner plus this Palm Sunday brunch on April the 13th at only 570 cedis. There's also Easter Sunday brunch on April 20th at 630 cedis. Both at Muchia Restaurant with live music from the African Glorious Chorale. Enjoy a nice stay with half board, a complimentary upgrade to a club room, movie tickets, a plush Easter bunny, and a relaxing couple spa treatment, all for just 4,880. You can also stay for 2 nights at 7,900 and enjoy even more luxury, including a delicious 3-course Easter buffet dinner. Gather the family for an unforgettable Easter getaway with Africa Region. Call 0302-276-5161. That's 0302-276-5161. Or go online and look for at the African Regent Hotel.
And if you're tired of HR headaches, simplify your businesses or your business with Hot Jobs Africa. As your one-stop shop, HR shop, we handle recruitment, labor outsourcing, expatriate management, consultancy services, and corporate training. Plus, we offer staff basing and 100% staff support to boost productivity. Don't let HR hassles hold you back. Contact Hot Jobs Africa today. Call them on 0303 980 362 or WhatsApp 0204 336 004. Email info@hotjobsafrica.org. Website www.hotjobsafrica.org. Hot Jobs Africa. Think HR. Think Hot Jobs Africa.
2 quick comments before you come to this matter. Samens is hitting the nail right on the head. You must look at the cost of building materials, exacerbated by the exchange rate. These are the drivers of the high cost of rent. Plus, if landlords don't charge in advance, it may create problems for home seekers in future, as the supply side will greatly be affected. Because if these advance payments that they invest in other buildings to supply more houses to meet the demand side, you will hear.
Lizzie from Kofodia, this issue of rent, some of the landlords do not even maintain the property. They increase rent yearly but will not even maintain the property. Even painting the outside of the building is a problem. They expect the tenants to do that. Good morning. Sometimes I compare how much my siblings are paying for rent in Accra and how much I am forced to rent out such similar spec rooms in Oda. It's just mind-boggling. Despite the challenging utility situation that comes with living in Accra, an ordinary room wouldn't be less than 1,000 cedis. You say, okay. Ken Arthur says, Bernard, as a landlord, I made a decision 5 years ago to transition to a monthly rent collection system. Landlord, please, where are you? Where are you? Initially, the process was smooth. Oh, okay, there's a problem. But I encountered some challenges with my tenants in Dansoman. However, I remain committed to my resolution, and I'm pleased to report that it's been working effectively. Long life for you, Mr. Arthur.
Right.
This issue of rent here, some of the landlords do not. Okay, I think we've done this.
Okay.
Already.
Let's do this last
Nana Mwaku says, can you believe I paid 1,500 Ghana cedis a month for a single room, self-contained at Teshi Bush Road, opposite the ICGC church? 1 year advance totaled 18,000 cedis, while the agent fee was 10%. That's 1,800 cedis. Rent charges in this country need urgent attention.
A single room self-contained, 1,500 cedis a month, and then some agent to come collect some.
Well, that's Chado.
No, that's
the Chado area. Yeah, well.
This is
Teshi Bush Road.
Rasta Road.
But there's some decent space there, you know.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that if I have 1,800 cedis a month to pay, I will make
1,500.
Is it
1,500 a month
plus agent?
So maybe 18K, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
1,500, yeah.
Yeah, so 1,500 a month. I'll make a location choice that will give me a better offering than by force going to live near Chado,
which is quite expensive. But the transport is cheaper.
It depends on where you are going.
So let's assume
it depends on where you are going.
Let's assume working at
if you for instance you get a house at Amasama, the first thing is that it's too far. But what if my office is in Achimota?
But wait, Osamens, this ICGC Teshi Bush Road, once you get to the Goil, you can get a straight car to Accra.
No, I understand. Assuming your office is in Accra.
Good. So yeah, right. So you need to calculate the thing.
But again, young people should also understand that in the Western world, there are certain practices that we as Africans have not woken up to.
Tell me about them.
Cohabiting.
Like where they rent,
share
we have one kitchen.
Yes.
And then everybody has their own bedroom.
You are not married. You don't have children. And you so we go so 2 bedrooms is for 3,000 cedis. You can't afford it.
So you have 2 people.
The 2 people share for the next 2 years.
Because there could be one kitchen, but then all of you have your separate bedrooms.
Ghanaians don't want that.
Yeah, you are right.
We don't want that. But when we travel,
But the landlords agree to that.
But are you going to tell them?
Find a friend. Oh.
Yes, you are not going to tell the landlord that, because you are not going to pay individually to the
I
landlord.
get you. So you can then come with a group.
Say that 3 of us, we are doing it among ourselves. I mean, I know some people do, but it's not widespread.
I get you.
It's a way of
sharing
a remedy to some of these things.
So
sharing.
So
the
if
space.
it's just a 2-bedroom and there are 2 of you, then you can then get
you
maybe
understand?
1,000.
Because Bernard, in the UK, and you know that
we do that a lot.
5 people, some of them will even be rotating in a sleeping.
Charlie, some even sleep on the hall.
When I was in university, I lived. The first place I rented with my friends, we were like 5 or 6.
But I have 1 kitchen.
Yeah, 1 kitchen and like 2 bathrooms.
Of course, you're students, but that's understandable. But you're out of school. Your first 5 years out of school,
you can still
don't put pressure on yourself.
It's true.
You know, we should live with the realities
because
of
the times that we are in.
You can't go and rent and then go and buy some car. You can't maintain the car.
You can't even buy fuel.
You can't buy fuel.
And then the mechanics will chop all your money because they don't speak the truth.
You know, so we should.
But let's come to the next topic. Read this thing for me before we
Post-retirement contract suspension must go further. Editorial News Center.
Okay.
President John Dramani Mahama's recent suspension of post-retirement contract appointments for retired public servants marks a significant and commendable intervention in Ghana's public sector management. The directive, which holds the increasingly controversial practice with immediate effect, is a bold response to a long-standing issue that has silently crippled youth employment and needlessly ballooned the national wage bill. For years, the public service has become a revolving door for retirees, many well beyond the retirement age of 60, who manage to secure contract extensions under the guise of indispensable experience. While institutional memory is valuable, this unchecked trend has clogged the pipeline for fresh talent and strained the public purse. Ghana's wage bill is already one of the heaviest items in the national budget. Continuing to pay salaries to individuals who should have exited the system only adds unnecessary pressure on public finances. Worse still, it undermines fairness and efficiency in hiring practices. The suspension of these post-retirement contracts is therefore a prudent fiscal decision as much as it is a moral one. Youth unemployment remains one of the gravest challenges facing Ghana today. Thousands of highly qualified, energetic and ambitious young Ghanaians are eager to serve their country but are consistently met with closed doors, largely because those jobs remain occupied by individuals long past their prime working years. This generational mismatch is more than just unfair, it is unsustainable. A dynamic and responsive public service must evolve, and that evolution requires space for new entrants. President Mahama's directive sends a clear message. It is time to prioritize the next generation. The editorial team also notes with concern the procedural irregularities that have allowed some retirees to secure contracts through presidential influence, bypassing the legal requirement that such requests be handled by the head of the civil service. The president's move helps to restore administrative order and reinforce the authority of the civil service structure. More importantly, it reaffirms Article 1911 of the 1992 Constitution, which clearly states that public officers must retire at 60 with very limited exceptions. Ghana is a country of laws, and no one, no matter how experienced, well connected, should operate outside the law. While this suspension is a welcome move, it should not be the end of the road. The president must now take the next logical step and cancel all existing post-retirement contracts that do not meet the strict criteria of critical necessity as outlined in the law. This policy must be institutionalized and enforced consistently across all ministries, departments, and agencies. Without a permanent solution, future administrations may reverse this progress.
So Elvis Daku is saying this must go beyond. I thought some very important people who work for us are above 60 in certain key areas. But the general consensus seems to be this is a good policy. Do you think it's a good policy?
I think it's long overdue.
Long overdue.
Yeah, it's long overdue, and we are even fortunate that they said suspension and not cancellation.
Oh.
They said suspension, meaning that there's a remote possibility of the thing being restored in another form. Okay, but if it's cancellation, I'll still go for that. You have always known that at post age 60, you are going on retirement. It's nothing new to you. And when people are assured of an extension of their tenure, it actually disables the process of passing on, to the next succession planning. You understand? I know that I am here. I turn 60 in next month, but I have been promised a 2 to 5 year contract.
Right.
Why would I be thinking of succession planning? And if you are not thinking of growing the next generation, how do you build a business? And indeed, when he leaves and something goes wrong with the company, who told you that he cares about it anyway? So if it's 60, it should be 60. We should be more concerned about those who are at the periphery, who are now trying to enter the job market with a high level of uncertainty.
So we should push the young people in more.
Yes, we should create more spaces for the younger people and create more avenues for businesses. Now, when you create more avenues for businesses, the retired 61-year-old person also has an opportunity to go into a certain business of their choice.
Or they can even be your board member and help you with
Yes.
guidance at the top.
Exactly.
Not necessarily now running the company.
As for the thing of you have been here and you are 60 and we give you contract, it should be even criminalized.
But you know the problem though, sometimes what you've said is true. I can't disagree with you. My only issue is that there are a few people who've been appointed recently. For example, today the Herald mentions 2. The IGP is 59 supposedly, and the ECG boss apparently is 60 in February, and he was even appointed after his 60th birthday. So how are you going to live with those two things?
That should tell you that the policy maker is not being selfish. It's not thinking about today. It's thinking about the medium to longer term.
Well, does that mean what I don't understand? So that because the paper is then saying that on the basis of this, the IGP probably has less than a year to stay in office.
And so what?
But why do you
appoint? No, I'm not so as in dismissing what it's saying.
I'm getting somewhere. What's the point in appointing somebody who's 59, who will be 60 in like 6 months?
Yes. It's to buy time to make a more substantive appointment. You can say that.
Okay. What about the ECG guy? If it's true that he's close to 60 or even 60 already, that's going to be strange, right? Because
the current ECG guy,
according to the story, he was 60 on February. It was 60 February 2025.
Oh, it means Julius, you grow like that. That's my mate, actually. So
because you are not yet 60.
No, not at all.
So my concern
Julius,
is,
Charlie, you grew like that.
Sometimes we don't know if the Herald has his real age, but the Herald is claiming that he was 60 in February, and the guy was appointed in March.
Oh, Julius, no, I have to ask him.
You get me? So it's one way. So why do you appoint somebody who's already 60?
That's a question to be answered.
If that policy is something,
that's a question. No, that's a question to be answered. But I want to go beyond this because it will sort itself out. But in the longer term, I am saying that when you are working, you've always known in the public service that once you hit 60, the next thing is retirement. Who doesn't know this?
But,
now, when people,
if you are very good at your job and you are
super!
energetic,
Thanks for that point. If you are very good at your job, that gives you the opportunity to go and establish a consultancy.
Oh, man.
Why not? But why are you so good at your job? Say in the trade ministry. Hang on. In the trade ministry, you are so good that you can't form a consultancy to provide services to the whole industry of the trade ministry, but it has to be in the ministry alone. Who told you that? How good can you be if you can't extend it? I am saying that they can't have any argument to reverse this thing.
This is a very good policy.
It is super good that you see they can be engaged in different forms. Don't get me wrong. But as for the extension, that is automatic extension, it is born out of favoritism.
That's wrong.
And it is corruption.
Yes.
We should stop it.
For the automatic extension, but this is the other point. Could it be that there's so much pressure on the government, this new government, to make appointments that they've had to say this so that the first batch of appointees who are close to 60 will probably leave in a year or two.
But even that, if that were the case, then it's a good thing. Yeah, if that were the case, then it's a good thing.
You and you are 59, so in 6 months time you are going. Then they'll bring somebody else. They'll say, at least we give you 6 months. So if you take it like that.
No, you see, we can always have a way to engage. For instance, look, this person you talk about, we mentioned.
You will know, and then
Julius Pekwena, who said that he cannot be put on the board if indeed the government is interested in keeping him in the system.
Okay.
He can be placed on the board. That's what I'm saying.
Wouldn't you say it's much better for the government to look for someone who's 52 years old or 55 and give him the job so that he gets
48?
I agree. No, I agree with you that again with the benefit of this new directive.
Yeah.
I don't think that once this directive has been established, the government going forward is going to appoint somebody who is 59.
Okay, so possibly the appointments prior to the directive were not well thought through.
I mean,
or now that they've seen that,
because maybe now they've evaluated the thing and they have seen that these 50-60 people, they are causing too much problems. So now
you seem to have some background. The way you're talking is funny. It's like
because me look, the guy who is now you interviewed him. The narcotics deputy director general.
Yes.
Chum.
No. Sanda interviewed him.
Yeah, Chum Berryman. He used to run an NGO called Solidaire.
Okay.
Solidaire. He was with that. He's been raising this matter in the last 2 to 5 years.
Oh, really?
About this. I'm telling you can check.
About
this thing extending contract for people, I've never met him before, but I've read things from him. Right. But I'm just saying that it's nothing new. Okay, but the concern is a real concern.
Right.
You are there, and then you have a minister who now says that because you have been good to me.
It was being abused.
Yes,
it was being abused.
Yes, so
the best way to do it is to suspend it.
If they are good enough, they should form a consortium so that they come and provide service so that they are paid as consultants. In fact, that's even more sustainable.
But I hope this doesn't apply to board. You can be above 60, right?
Oh yes, of course.
Okay.
But there's a message here. In my opinion, the policy of not extending employment contracts beyond retirement age in the public sector is not the most effective approach. On average, it takes a Ghanaian graduate between 3 to 10 years to secure a job after school, with most graduating around the age of 25. This means the typical working period spans roughly 26 years, during which one is expected to progress from low-paying jobs to higher-paying ones. When you consider the average age of marriage in Ghana, it is relatively high. It becomes clear that many individuals only begin to attain financial stability and and accumulate valuable experience around the age of 60. It seems counterproductive to retire people just when they become most valuable to the workforce. Say.
Other people too are in the pipeline.
That'll be the whole story.
That's the whole story.
That'll be the whole
It's a very Ghanaian thing.
In some state-owned agencies, they are appointed as consultants a day before their retirement to do the same work they were doing before retirement. The president should punish state-owned enterprises who practice that. It is as if to say there is no one else in the company mentored or trained for the job.
They have suspended it. You won't come again. They have suspended it. You won't come again. And this thing of they are going to provide valuable service. They are going to provide what? The person has been there for 30 years. The person has been there for 30 years. He did not change the fortunes of the organization, but the 2-year extension is what will change it. What logic is that?
Stabilization.
No, they should
go. 30 years, he got enough time to stabilize. We the young people want jobs.
They should go.
We the young people want to serve our country. We want
the
pipeline
must move.
The pipeline must move.
Yeah,
it's our time.
There also came the debate about extending the retirement age from 60 to 65.
Yeah.
You understand? So it looks to me like it's always to provide comfort to the older people. How about the young people? How about the young people?
But 60 old?
No. It is what
I'm
you
just
see.
checking, I'm not sure.
Actually,
No,
not.
It's old, please.
well, of course, relatively it's
Because
old.
as
But
I'm
what I'm
sitting
saying is
here,
that
in 17 years,
You'll
now,
be
I'll be
60.
60. And I'm asking myself,
So in 70 years old,
but it
you'll be old.
does not disqualify you from pursuing your own business.
so
This
you are
is what we
saying
should
that
know.
at 60, you don't need to be employed in the state agency working as whatever.
Yeah, we are saying
Why
that.
should you be there?
Unless you have some very specific expertise that maybe you are needed there.
How?
Maybe you are the only.
Tell me one
Let me give
specific
you an example.
expertise
Let
that
me-
only one person
Let me
has.
give you an example. You know, in the medical field, there are some
Surgeons.
there are some specializations that less than 5 people in the whole country have.
Do you know why they call them consultants?
So they are above 60. They still give them the work. They still do. Okay, that's true too.
But let me
And
wish.
another place I'll say that it might be useful to keep this is in academia.
A lot of them who teach, yes.
Those type of things, because they are teaching, they are doing certain things. That might be the only exception. But if you are doing a certain type of job, I think it's very difficult.
They feel you say fast.
They will mafia you.
There will be exceptions.
It's okay.
But what I'm saying is that the automatic extension, contracting,
we
should-
agree with
we
you
should give it
100%.
to Zoom Lion to go and ball it.
We agree with you 100%.
But there's a quick dedication here, if I may. This is coming from Kojo Armstrong to the CEO of Oxgat Limited. Yes, Kojo Armstrong. He says, Ato Gate, happy birthday to you. May all your dreams come true. I'm sure it's not 60 yet.
Well, that's all we have time for today's edition of the City Breakfast Show. Coming to you live from Adabraka in Accra. Coming up next, City News at 10 with Sheba Araba Benin. Good morning, Sheba.